what the fuck it was. But there's some part towards the end of the song where Phil has just a clean singing part.
Yeah.
And maybe it is that song.
Yeah.
And he's just like there on stage, like operatically going for it. And it's all it has to be. And it's so interesting to throw that in there, but he does it so well. And shit like that is. But stuff like that, seeing him do that live and seeing them play those songs live with all these weird little things, they don't necessarily feel like songs that crowds are going to be going crazy for. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like these aren't always like sick metal things to mosh to. And so seeing those live, it's interesting to see how they pull those off and how they feel.
That's interesting.
In a live setting. I love it though.
I understand what you're saying. Yeah, this is definitely a like listening experience. This isn't like a like let's get to the fucking mosh riff. Like, it's definitely not that. Looking at you, Hellyeah. Let's get to the part that everyone sings because everyone knows because this melody is the melody that's in everything.
Because we called our band Hellyeah and we called the song Hellyeah and we called the album Hellyeah.
We're coming for you, Vinnie.
Rip, buddy, but get ready.
Episode 24, recorded April 2nd, 2022.
Just in general, just in I guess we're gonna see, man. So here we are.
Welcome back.
Welcome back
To the Richard Wooten podcast.
WZXMB.
Last time on.
Let's see. Man. So I'm a drummer, so I feel like I have to talk about Taylor Hawkins.
Yeah, I was gonna ask him. Okay, because I actually I didn't mention this to you at all through not for any like podcast related reasons. I think I just kind of forgot to bring it up when that happened. Yeah,
it only happened like a few days ago.
Was it a few days ago?
It was like 4 or 5 days ago.
Seems like fucking 2 weeks ago.
No, man.
Lord Almighty.
No, I think Will Smith slapped Chris Rock.
That was on Sunday.
Okay. No, I mean Taylor Hawkins like is very recent. Like so today is Saturday, April 2nd.
Yeah.
Let's see.
It was like a week and a half ago, maybe.
I don't think so, man.
It was before Will Smith slapped Chris Rock. These are the notches on my timeline.
It was a week and a day.
So it was Saturday. So you said a week and a day, so Friday.
It was a week and a day.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. So a week and a day.
Fuck. Okay, yeah.
That Taylor Hawkins died, and
50 years old.
50 years old.
Shit.
On tour.
Right.
Playing at like
in like Bolivia, I think.
Colombia.
Okay.
I think, yeah. You know, at like the top of his game.
Yeah.
Amazing, and you know, I don't know, man. It just sucks.
Yeah.
It just sucks. I feel so bad. Like Dave Grohl puts so much joy out into the world. He just doesn't deserve to hurt this much.
Totally.
He doesn't deserve to have to go through quote unquote this again. You know, it's different. It's different. But like just to lose a musical brother again.
Yeah, exactly.
You know. And Taylor had OD'd in the early 2000s also. Like he was like another one of those like dead in the ambulance kind of situations, I believe, you know. So
is that what this was? I haven't actually looked into it any further.
I mean, they found a lot of stuff in his system. I think but nothing super conclusive, you know.
Gotcha.
He's had it could be a number of things, you know, like he's had real bad addiction problems in the past, and around 50 is whenever, you know, you figure out you have heart problems, if you have heart problems, and like he might have just pushed it too hard and had like an underlying condition and all that just kind of came up, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
out on tour all the time. Maybe you don't get that shit checked out if it comes
Right.
up, that sort of thing.
Maybe pandemic's real stressful, relapsed a little. That happened to
Sure.
lots of people.
Sure.
That happened to lots of rockers, lots of like touring musicians.
Unfortunately, I knew exactly what you meant, but yes.
You know, who had really struggled with finding coping mechanisms to deal with their addictions and whatnot, and coping strategies, and
Right.
and they had been able to get in a rhythm and do it, and then the pandemic took that away, and they weren't able to get those needs met, and you know, shit's rough. And so
I can imagine.
I'm not speculating that that's what happened with him, but you know, but I mean, there's just
Yeah.
there's just no. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if it's the worst thing you can imagine. It doesn't matter if he like shot himself full of heroin. It's still a tragedy.
Yep.
You know.
Yeah. They just put out a new album, or they're about to.
They just did. Like they put out
They
like
just
this
did.
like fucking like fake ass fun ass
They just put out a
metal
movie.
record. And the
Or
movie.
it's coming out soon. Yeah.
Yeah.
And there was just a. Well, Dave Grohl did that Hot Ones the other day. That was just him. But I think he and Taylor did an interview on like Howard Stern a couple weeks ago,
Yeah.
and they just got done talking about like how much of like creative like brothers they are, like how in love with each other they were creatively
Yeah.
throughout. Like
Yeah.
I can't
man.
even fucking imagine.
Yeah, like those, like, what, peas in a pod is what you say? Or whatever.
Yes.
I'm going to try to fix something real quick.
Oh.
No, nothing's wrong.
Uh-oh. Okay, yeah, we're good.
There. I like it to be on. I like to see it moving.
Okay.
while
You like
I'm
to see the
recording.
progress happening.
Yeah. But yeah, man, it just fucking sucks. Like I'm a little detached. Because you know I was a metal drummer, and I never really identified with being a rock drummer,
Mm-hmm.
right? So whenever Taylor Hawkins and all those guys were like really hot shit, like in the early 2000s and whatnot, and he was like the gold standard
Yeah.
for a lot of things. I didn't really get it. And so I don't have as much of an emotional connection. Don't get me wrong. I fucking love the Foo Fighters. But I do remember like seeing an Alanis Morissette DVD and being like, God damn, this drummer fucking rips.
Right.
And then I remember seeing like this girl I was dating wanted to go see the Foo Fighters in like 2008 or something. I went and saw them, and it was like one of the best concerts I'd ever seen, ever.
Nice.
And I was like I wasn't expecting that, you know.
You're
And-
just expecting to go see popular rock band Foo Fighters
Yes,
play some songs that you know from the radio.
yes. I wasn't expected to be just like held in the palm of Dave Grohl's hand as he made me feel whatever he wanted me to feel. And for me to just be utterly enraptured for 2.5 hours hearing mostly songs that I didn't know,
Damn.
and it's so incredible. It's so incredible. And Taylor Hawkins is the backbone of that. Like
Right.
it doesn't exist. Like
He was the only Foo Fighters drummer, apart from Dave playing like on the first album, I think.
no, there was another drummer
Okay.
who toured for the first album cycle that used
Oh,
to.
that makes sense.
He used to be in the band with the bassist, but Sunny Day Real Estate. He used to be in that
okay.
band with the bassist, and they both joined the Foo Fighters whenever Dave was just touring for the first record, and then whenever they were
shit.
tracking for the second record, you know, it was a real bummer, man. Like they talk about it in the Foo Fighters documentary, like There and Back. I think that's what's called. Anyway, it's a great documentary.
Mhm.
Came out a while ago. But yeah, it was a real bummer because, you know, man, how do you play drums in a band when the singer and guitarist is the greatest rock drummer
Right.
alive?
Just got done, you know, he's coming off making some of the best like rock drumming tracks
Yeah.
there have ever been. Yeah.
Right. And so his drum tracks on the album weren't up to Dave's standard. So Dave started redoing them.
Oh, okay. I see.
And it was real awkward.
I see.
And so
That was on the color and the shape.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And so then he ended up leaving because it was just too much of like an emotional blow and too much of a like look, no, man, like, you know, I can't keep doing this. I can't, you know what I mean?
That sucks.
Yeah. And it's just a shitty situation, man. Like I get that. I totally get that from, you know what I mean? And then I think he knew Taylor and he was like, hey, Taylor, do you know of any drummers? Because Taylor was playing with Alanis at the time. And Taylor was like, man, fuck it, I'll be your drummer. Dave was like, whoa, I ain't got Alanis money. You know, because this was when Alanis was like, you know.
This was like 95, 96.
I think maybe 98.
Or Color and the Shape was 97, so it had to have been after that. Yeah, right. First album was 95.
Right. You know, and Taylor was like, oh, fuck it, man, I always wanted to be in a band. You know, I'm a band guy. I'm really a band guy, you know. And so, but yeah, man, no, there was all sorts of that documentary is great. There's all sorts of tension. Like he was real fucking butthurt whenever Dave Whitten was playing drums with Queens of the Stone Age, and
right,
you know what I mean. And like, but then like Dave like really wanted his buddy to like be happy for him also, but Taylor was like, "Fuck you," you know. I mean, it's just, you know,
I'll have to watch that.
It's incredible, man, and I
got Dave Grohl's memoir for Christmas. I haven't read it yet. The Storyteller is what it's called.
Yeah, man. I don't know. I don't know what they're gonna do. Obviously, I don't know what the fuck they're gonna do.
They just canceled all their tour dates.
Of course they fucking did.
They did. Yeah. Yeah. Will they be a band anymore? I wouldn't be surprised if they're not.
Yeah. You know, I saw someone say it in a way that I agree with, which is, you know, it's hard to imagine them not existing as a band, but it's also hard to imagine Dave Grohl not playing those songs again. You know, in some way, shape, some color, shape, or form. So, but yeah, heartbreaking. So
fucking sucks.
So speaking of heartbreaking, we're going to talk about some Pantera side projects today.
Mostly heartbreaking.
How's that for segues? We're also going to talk about more incredible, influential, you know, divine gift from the gods, musicians dying prematurely. Also is also what we're going to be talking about today.
Yeah, that'll be included too.
But yeah, so this is going to be the Pantera wrap-up episode. There's a bonus one coming where we're just going to talk about the home videos, but as far as recording, they're like recorded output. This is it.
Right. Man, I'm really excited to do the video one because I can't imagine how we're going to get a full conversation out of that, but I know that we are.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, man.
So
that's going to be a thing. It is going to devolve into madness of us just screaming quotes at each other.
Screaming stupid inside jokes from this video that we had zero part in creating. Just know it so well.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to grab a Coke.
Yeah, that's a great idea. I figure you could leave this in. I don't know. Maybe I'll edit it. Maybe I won't.
Exactly.
But yeah, so up to this point, so the last one, we had Harrison here, which is really cool because he has some different perspectives than us.
Yeah, despite being so close in age.
Yeah, like three years difference.
Yeah,
3 or 4 years difference.
Quite a different viewpoint on some things, which I appreciated.
Yeah, it was really
and enjoyed.
Nice.
That was fun.
Yeah, it was great, and it kind of like sort of almost speaks to the kind of the thesis of this whole thing, which is that there's really not another band that I think that we can do this do this same kind of thing with, because of the age that we are when we started playing music. Like, you know, you had to have an opinion about every Pantera record.
Yeah, I mean, that was the thing that I'm sure we brought it up in the first episode at some point, but it was like,
Yeah.
Pantera is maybe the only band I can think of who was anywhere near as influential on us, and their entire prime was as we were getting into music
Yes.
and discovering music.
Right. It was like exactly during our formative years.
Yeah,
You know?
it's a completely right place, right time for us,
Exactly.
and playing the kind of music we were playing. Yeah.
Right. And that almost all of their recorded output happened to be in that window.
Exactly.
Is the really unique thing.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, all of their...
As a band called Pantera, you know.
Well, they were still called Pantera pretty early on.
True.
They just didn't have Phil.
Well,
sure. Actually, they did for a little while.
On the one right before.
Yeah.
So man, god damn it. Another episode where we go into the befores.
I meant to get into that a little bit for this one, but I just didn't have time.
Same, I forgot. But yeah, so we're gonna you know, we're gonna talk about the side projects, you know, and
Of which there were, I didn't realize Phil had so many side projects. That dude is prolific, I guess.
Yes.
Still going.
Yeah. So we'll start there. And so to me, we're gonna really focus on like the only like 2 records that we decided to really dig into in depth was the first Down record, because we're already very, very familiar with that record and love that record very, very deeply.
Yeah.
And the Damage Plan album.
And so Down, NOLA is the album, came out in 1995.
Right, like fall of 95.
Yeah. And the Damage Plan, Newfound Power, came out in 2004.
Four.
Why did I get those backwards? Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah. So almost 10 years apart.
Turns out that Vinnie and Dime broke up Pantera when they did Damage Plan right after Far Beyond Driven. Newfound Power, oh my God. But yeah, so the thing that I was a little bit surprised to find out was all of Phil's other projects. So before...
You just want to like run them down here, or what?
Yeah, so I mean there's so many, and what I tried to do is I went and like made a little playlist. I just sort of like there's so much, right? I'm obviously not like, I don't know the fucking Necrophagia Cannibal Holocaust record inside and out. I didn't like pick the fucking like best track.
Hey, don't worry, neither do I.
Yeah. But I thought that shit was just really interesting. It's just really, I don't know. I think it's really insightful when you look at all these fucking underground, crazy, on the surface, terrible sounding records that Phil was making. Some of them, like the Viking Crown stuff, like that's all him, I'm pretty sure. And then there's somewhere he's playing guitar and he's not doing vocals at all.
Right.
You know, and all this sort of stuff. And I just have an immense, like early on, it's like, it's clear. It's like, oh, well, this guy, this is where the edge that you felt in Pantera's music came from. Like, this is it. It's all him.
Mm-hmm.
Because even Reinventing the Steel, as lukewarm as you and I feel about that record, it still has an edge to it that the Damage Plan record does not have.
Totally does not have. Yeah. Absolutely.
And like that's Phil's mojo, man. I don't, like because he's so committed to like death metal and black metal and grindcore, and he's committed to the point to where he's like, fuck it, I want to make a grindcore record. Oh, me and my buds are gonna make this record.
Right.
Me and this. Let me grab the singer from I Hate God and fucking Hank Williams III, and let's go into a studio in Houston and make a record in 4 days. Like that's like Christ inversion or whatever. That's what they did, and I just have so much respect for someone who's just putting in that kind of fucking work.
Yeah.
even if at times, if like when you, it seems like really unfocused, and it's like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, what are you doing, Phil?
Yeah. I mean, it's just kind of impressive, like in that sense, because it's almost as if he just, like you said, he just kind of got a wild hair up his ass and said, I want to make a black metal album. But he actually made it happen.
Right.
And that's kind of the crazy part to me.
Right. And it,
I mean, not that I know the guy. I've seen him in home videos and a couple of interviews. That's about it. But
Right.
like, he doesn't strike me as the type of person to like be so focused like that. But
yeah, you
look
don't
at his fucking credits.
yeah, you don't think of him as like this, like David Bowie, like art for art's sake. I just have to
Yeah.
be creating,
Right. Yeah.
you know. But obviously he does. That's obviously the thing, and that he created, especially in the especially like in that time period in the 90s when Pantera was ruling the world. He didn't have to do anything.
Right.
You know, he didn't have to do anything.
Yeah.
But that was what he was doing, you know? He was like, oh, let me make a fucking black metal record. Let me fucking do this. Let me make a fucking, you know, Let me get on it. Let me play guitar on some fucking crusty ass fucking weird death metal record, you know? Because that band Necrophagia, they're like old school. Like they were one of those really early death metal bands that like before death metal was like knew what it was.
Mm.
And after like hanging out with Phil, the guy like resurrected the name and so like there's like a very specific like Phil plays guitar era, and then the band does shit afterwards. Anyway, it's just fucking wild.
Yeah.
And so yeah, man, I don't know. I just think all that I respect all that a lot.
Yeah, for sure.
And you know, one of my favorite ones that I put on there was a song Tear Gas by a band called Scour.
Yeah.
Now, that's like half of this band Misery Index, which is one of my favorite fucking bands. So
Shit. Okay.
yeah, so you know, it has this guy named Adam Jarvis on drums. I think his brother plays guitar in it. But yeah, Adam Jarvis is like top tier when it, you know, like death metal grindcore drummer. So I was not surprised that that's amazing. So but yeah, but very cool. And like it's just like Phil doesn't have to do any of this. He doesn't have to be creating like this. He doesn't have to be putting his name on stuff and taking risks and taking artistic risks. And it's like, he doesn't have to be doing any of that. And then also simultaneously, he's out there doing like, you know, like Phil and someone, the Illegals are doing like vulgar display of Pantera shows where they do a whole set of Pantera songs.
Whoa.
Like he's doing that now. And he's doing shit. He's playing shit live that Pantera never played. Like he's playing like Suicide Note Part 1, like on stage, like just, you know, fucking doing it.
Weird.
You know, and it's good. Like it sounds fine. It's good. Like you know what I mean? It's not Vinnie and Dime and Rex, but nothing ever could be.
Yeah.
You know, but it feels respectful. It doesn't feel. You know what I mean? And it's like, so he's simultaneously doing this, like, I have to fucking make shit or I'm going to die, but also honoring the legacy and stuff. And I don't know, man. It's,
I mean, I'm sure he's going to make money on some level, right?
Pantera was in a good spot, man. I'm sure they make plenty royalties and plenty merch and shit like that.
That was a long time ago, though.
But that, dude, people fucking listen to Pantera every goddamn day. You know, like I'm sure that Pantera's streaming checks are fine.
I'm sure they're fine.
You know, like
I'm sure they're fine. Yeah.
But anyway.
But yeah, it's very clear, given like the diversity of this list of shit that he's been putting out for decades now.
Right.
It's clear that he just wants to be doing this.
Right.
There's no question about that.
So like mad respect for that creative output.
Yeah,
So
totally.
I know I really took him to task over the racism stuff. Go see go check out the first episode we did.
I mean, there's reasons enough for taking Phil to task, I think.
Oh yeah, no, and I don't take any of it back, and I don't apologize for any of it. I would do it again, and but that doesn't take anything away from how much I do respect him, like his commitment to the art and the commitment to the work.
Yeah,
and
for sure.
You know, Because, and also like just this idea, like he knows when he puts out a record that it's not going to have a far beyond driven impact.
Mm-hmm.
And to say, fuck it, I'm still, like whatever, this is what I want to do.
Yeah, exactly.
And that gives me chills, man. Like that like mad fucking respect for that.
Yeah.
Cause it's not like, cause he's, I don't know, man. There's just a certain kind of acceptance there. And it's a certain kind of like, well, no, man, this is what I do.
Yeah.
Like I'm not chasing another thing. This is what I do.
I mean, he's like pay or no pay. Like he's very clearly doing it like for the sake of the art.
Right.
At that point, because there's so much of it, and it's different.
Yeah.
It's so different. Like on the Scour, I listened to those first 4 tracks that you recommended on that playlist.
Mm-hmm.
On that Scour track, I could barely tell that was him, even singing.
Right.
Like there were little affectations in there where I was like, okay, there you are. But,
Right.
Yeah, that was wild. And then the N minor track, N minor,
I don't
I guess
know.
is probably how you pronounce it. I was like, I definitely didn't expect this, but I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
It's not great, but it's yeah, sure, man.
Yeah. It's like, I respect you for trying, dude.
Yeah, it was like a bluesy, almost country sort of vibe to it.
Right.
I don't know how to describe that, but
Like, it's like this Leonard Cohen kind of almost thing.
yeah,
You know?
almost like a spoken word type. Like he's singing so low and subdued. It's almost like a spoken word
Yeah.
in a way.
Yeah. But the thing that I like about his stuff too, which I can't say about some of the stuff that Vinnie and Dime did afterwards, is that everything when I went through and I poked through, like everywhere I dropped the needle on any of Phil's stuff, it still kind of felt like quote unquote art. Like in some way, like they felt like there was a little bit of risk in there. Like it felt like, it's like I'm not sure if this works.
Mm.
But this might be really cool. I wasn't expecting this. This is at least different. This is, there's always a measure of risk in anything that Phil has put out. Is how it felt.
Sure.
And you can't say that about Hellyeah, for instance.
Yeah, I guess maybe you could say that, but I'm not going to say that.
I don't think you can.
I'm not going to say that about Damage Plan either, honestly.
Yeah, no. We'll get to it. I have a lot of love for the Damage Plan record. It's not going to be a bashing session.
Okay. Yeah.
There's things though. There's plenty.
All right.
But yeah, man. Okay, so here's the jewel. Here's the jewel of this podcast. Is this? This is it. That's the jewel, right there. Not the jewel case.
Well, it is the jewel case also, but
not just the jewel case.
The crown burned jewel.
Oh, how funny, man! Oh, you know why? Because this CD was in the one that got stolen at Fort Worth.
Oh shit! Of course.
Yeah, man.
But just the disc, and you still had this at home.
Right.
Nice.
Right.
Man, I forgot how like thick this paper was. Like
yeah.
how real this felt. How good this felt. It was like thick matte print.
Yeah. Everything should be done in matte.
Totally. So yeah, down NOLA. Man, this album is so fucking good. That's all I had to say about it. That's all. I got notes, but that's all I need to say, really.
Yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat. Is it?
No, I got a lot to say about this album, actually.
Oh, good. It's like this record is perfect. Alchemical madness. Every note is perfect. You can't fuck with any of it.
Pretty much.
I think this is as close to a perfect record that exists.
It depends. I mean, I'm not gonna argue with that.
Yeah,
it's like depending on what you're looking for. Like, you can't get any better than this. If you're looking for this kind of music, that's it.
It's so good. Like,
Yeah.
and like every tone on it is perfect to me.
It is.
I'm like, that's the perfect drum sound. That's the perfect guitar tone. Like everything on it is perfect. And the songs are so weird, but every single one of them has this mind fucking blowing hook.
They're weird until you listen to their later albums and you're like, this shit's fucking weird. So, yes. Because I listened to most of 2 as well.
It's all over the place, ain't it?
Dude, there's a Clutch song on that album. What the fuck are y'all doing?
Which one is the Clutch song?
Stained Glass Cross. On Bustle in Your Hedgerow. My note is this is a Clutch song. What the fuck?
How funny, man! I that was like one of my favorite songs on there because I was like,
it ain't bad.
I was like, dude, it has an organ on it.
Yeah,
I am so down with this.
It does, yeah. That's a Clutch song. They heard Clutch and they said we're gonna write a Clutch song.
That's awesome.
I'm fine with that. I love Clutch, so sure. But I didn't expect it on a Down album. Was the thing, right?
Right.
There's a lot of weird shit on that album.
Yeah.
But you're not wrong. Like, NOLA is a pretty strange album in a lot of ways.
Well, like the song structures themselves are weird.
Yeah.
And do you remember when we learned Lifer?
Yeah.
And it took longer than it felt like it should have.
Yeah. Sure. Yeah.
Because like, wait, then they do what? That's not what they do. Wait, hold on. You know?
Right.
And
that song, that's a weird song in a lot of ways. There's a weird riff. That riff has no business being as fucking groovy as it is. It has no business working like it does, but boy, does it. So a lot, we can talk about Phil all you want, but I am coming to this conversation to talk about Pepper Keenan, like, to be perfectly honest.
And Kirk.
So I don't have a history with Kirk, though, is the thing. Whereas this sort of getting back into this album and thinking about it more brought to mind that for a certain period of time, I was way into Corrosion of Conformity.
Were you?
I was.
Okay.
Because somehow or another I came across Deliverance. I found somebody owned it and I found it and listened to it. And I love that album.
Oh, okay.
Like that's one of those albums, like front to back, everything on it's fucking fantastic.
Man, I'm so excited for when we do that Pink Floyd episode and you and Shay get to meet, because that's one of his favorite records too.
Deliverance?
Yeah.
Whoa. All right.
Yeah,
all right. Here we go.
Yeah.
So yeah, I loved that album. That was 93. And then I think there was one or two, maybe Wise Blood was after that.
That's the one I had.
I can't remember. I had it too, but I didn't get nearly into that one like I did.
I really liked it at the time. I was like, oh, this is really cool.
Yeah.
You know, because I had this habit of I would buy a band's newest record.
Yeah, same. Yeah.
And that was the new one.
Yeah.
You know,
like, here's the one that I'm going to get now that I know about them. Here's the one that I'm going to get way into, that sort of thing.
Right. Yeah. And so that's all. And then I got some other random Corrosion. I got the Animosity record. The Corrosion of Conformity Animosity.
I think that was one of the earlier ones.
Yeah, when they were like a hardcore
punk band almost.
Like crossover band, and Pepper wasn't even in the band yet.
Right, yeah.
And I was confused.
Yes.
But no, I bought it just because that guy's in Down.
Okay.
And to me, have you checked out Crowbar? Have you ever?
That's the thing. I kind of haven't really.
So I did. I sort of got into
due diligence
like last year.
Okay.
I had sort of gotten into them a little bit or gotten into Kirk because I happened to see, or maybe a band I was playing in opened, or a band that I joined opened for Kingdom of Sorrow, which was a Jamie Josta and Kirk Winstein.
Okay.
And so I ended up getting that record. And I was like, oh, this guy sings so fucking cool, you know? And
does he sing in Crowbar?
Yeah, he's the guy.
Okay.
He's like the songwriter, the singer.
Gotcha.
And he has such a unique voice, and it's so fucking cool. And some of their stuff but yeah, I went and, listened to a lot of them last year. It's so good. And I'm so mad. I am so mad at Dime because I feel like I would have gotten into Crowbar if my only exposure to him wasn't the clip that they show in the home videos, which is just this loud wall of shit.
Right.
And I was like, well, fuck that band.
Exactly.
That bassist looks fat. Fuck that band. And
I came out the same way where it's like, man, that sounds like shit.
Yeah. Like Dime, God, that's the one true mistake of your life, Dimebag. I don't know, man. I don't know.
But yeah, I'm right there with you.
Yeah.
So I need to go check out Crowbar, I think.
You fucking do, man.
So on the one hand, I get I get being mad at that. On the other hand, I really like it when I find a band that I just somehow completely fucking ignored, and I really like them, and I can get into them again. So that's always cool.
So Dime gave you a gift, and me,
and you a curse.
Yeah, it averages out. God damn it. Damn you, Dimes.
God damn.
So did you see that video I sent you?
Yes.
Did you go and look?
Yes.
Okay.
In the description.
All right. Man.
Yeah, I made every point to. I was like, oh, manliest goddamn. And I was like, yeah, that's.
Oh, God damn.
I knew exactly what it was before I even clicked on it, but yeah.
Yeah. So there's this live video of Down playing in Dallas.
It's like December of '95.
Right.
So like right after this album came out.
And so this is peak Anselmo. This is
right after Far Beyond Driven came out. 94.
Well, it's a year and a half afterwards.
Yeah, in like general time, I guess.
Right. Yeah.
The grand scheme of things.
Yeah.
So Down had just come out, and then the year before, Far Beyond Driven came out.
Right. And then after this tour, he goes in and makes fucking Southern Trendkill.
Yeah.
And so, but yeah, and goddamn, they sound so huge.
Yeah, they sound fucking awesome.
But yeah, I'll put a link in the description. It's so good.
Yeah, I watched like a few songs. I need to go watch the rest of that for sure.
Man,
because yeah, Phil is just like sounding amazing on there.
I tell you though, I am with you because like this is an album that I listen to and I'm like, man, I want to learn to play the fucking guitar.
So the weird thing, like what I was getting around to there with the COC thing is like, I guess number one, I don't know if we're ever going to talk about COC again. I guess maybe given what you said about Shade, maybe we will. But like I don't have a ton to say about COC. Like I really liked him for a little bit, so I got way into Deliverance, and then I wasn't way into Wise Blood. But then America's Volume Dealer came out in like '99 or 2000, and I got way into that one. That was a great album. And that was kind of it.
Did you ever fuck with? Is it called Deliverance? No.
That was the one I said I did get into.
God damn it, I'm an idiot. No, there's another one. In the Arms of God or something like that.
No, so basically nothing past that I got really into.
I did get into that one because it has Stanton Moore on drums.
So I didn't know that. I saw that today. I was like, oh shit. He played with COC. Wow.
Yeah, because Stanton Moore's drumming guru is this guy named Johnny Vodakovich. You know, like philosophical patron saint of New Orleans drumming. And Pepper dated his daughter for a very long time.
Okay.
And so,
all right.
So I'm sure that like, you know, so I'm sure there was a very like easy connection between Pepper. Like Pepper just had to think, oh, I need a drummer for this. And like Stanton. I need to play on a heavy fucking record and pad out my resume. You know, so no disrespect, Stan. He's one of the most influential drummers on me. Period. End of story. Like as influential as like Vinnie Paul, for sure.
Great. I was hoping you knew that already then, because I was going to come in here and be like, "Did you know?"
Fuck.
Yeah,
of course I fucking knew that.
Yeah.
I bought that record just because Stanton Moore played on it.
Cool.
And all I could think was like, this ain't Jimmy Bower. Because, you know, man, I'm in whatever. I love Stanton when he's doing Stanton stuff. So I don't know, whatever. I'm maybe back up. I haven't really found my through line into really loving Corrosion of Conformity yet.
Okay.
So maybe that's gonna happen.
Maybe so, yeah. Maybe we can talk about this some more. They're kind of a weird band. And they sort of evolved as they went along. Like you said, Pepper joined, and they kind of got a Southern thing going on that they didn't really have before.
Right.
But you listen to, like... So that was the thing. Like, I found Deliverance and got into that before I really got into Down.
Oh.
Is the thing. So that album came out in 93, but maybe I came across it in like 97 or 8 or something.
Okay.
Because it took me a little while to get into Down.
No shit.
Mm-hmm. I didn't get into them right away.
No shit.
And like I don't even know if I think probably I didn't know who the fuck this was.
Huh.
I just knew that they were like a popular rock band or something. I didn't know it was Phil. It was just one of those things I probably never came across or something like that, you know? So it took me a while to get into this album.
I probably bought this because it had a sticker on it that said featuring Phil of Pantera.
Oh, that would make sense then.
And this is
I would have done the same thing.
I think this is one of those records that's kind of similar to the Typo Negative record, October Rust, that it got to me so early that I accept it as canon. You know, like, and so anytime that I would try to listen to Corrosion of Conformity or anything like that early on, I was like, this ain't down. This ain't down.
That's a fair point.
I would even go as far as to speculate that this laid the groundwork for me getting really, really into Black Sabbath later.
I can see that.
Because now I had like I had the Sabbath greatest hits, you know, in like 94 or 95 before.
We sold our soul for rock and roll.
It wasn't that one.
Because I had that one.
It wasn't that one. It was some like,
I'm sure there are multiple
generic one, like from some weird, I don't know.
Oh, okay.
But
either way.
But in high school, I became like a total like Sabbath freak, and just had
Sabbathian.
I had like all of the Ozzy era records and all that sort of stuff, and I was deep down into that.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't be surprised if part of that is because of, you know, this record defining to me what albums are supposed to sound like.
Yeah, because like, it kind of wraps back around, right? Like this sort of like, I don't know what to call this other than like sludge metal, because it kind of is. But this kind of music like came from Black Sabbath pretty directly.
Of course, yes.
So
yeah. It doesn't feel very to me.
This has much more of a southern thing to it than typical sludge metal does, but I don't know how to better describe this.
Right. It's really, it doesn't feel very well, because sludge is there's a lot of overlap with sludge and southern stuff, and so
yeah.
But I typically think of sludge as being slower. Like to me, Crowbar is like one of the like archetypal sludge bands.
It tends to be, yeah.
And so yeah, this is like southern rock Sabbath worship is what this is to me.
Well, that's not going to fit on the little thing in the CD store, so
so we go sludge.
We got to have something better.
We'll go sludge.
Shorter, more elegant.
But yeah.
So yeah, I can see how you would get there then.
Yeah, well, and it's interesting too, because I feel like this record and the things that derive from this record are probably like the skeleton key to our paths and how they diverge, because this is like adjacent to stoner rock and all that sort of stuff, and Clutch and all that you get really, really, really into.
Yeah.
That I don't.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And that's kind of fascinating, because I got really, really into Sabbath, and I don't think you did.
I mean, I got into them, but not like you did.
Yeah, I mean,
Definitely not.
everyone, you don't play metal without fucking being into Sabbath, but there's also levels of like being into, you know, like, oh man, I love Sabbath, and then like Megalomaniac is my favorite Sabbath song. You know what I mean? Like there's different levels, right?
Yeah.
And so, just as a real quick weird thing, so just a little insight into the fucking weird headspace I'm in, inside baseball here. So when I said skeleton key, I was like, oh yeah, in episode 9 on the live episode, I said that Secret Samadhi was the skeleton key to the toxicity that is live's music, or some shit like that.
Citation noted.
That's what's fucking going through my brain right now. This is not a healthy place.
This is not okay.
Yeah. I'll be glad when I'm past this.
Oh, good.
But yeah, so you were into Corrosion of Conformity before you got into this. So when did you fucking get this record?
That's what I'm saying. Maybe like, I bet I got into Deliverance like 98, 99, something like that. So probably after that. Was when I got like way into it. I think I had it before that, but I don't think I got into it before that.
What?
Yeah.
That is insane to me, because I was definitely into this in 96. I definitely had this by 90. I probably had this before Tranquil came out. I probably owned it. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Like, pretty sure that I did.
Yeah, so like to me it's like this album was always like, wow, they were doing this back then.
What?
Right? So that's how I'm coming at this album. I guess we never really talked about Down in this way, did we?
Which is really funny because we've played their music on stage together.
Yeah.
And did a damn good job, man. We really did a good job covering that.
That song was so fucking fun to play.
Yeah, man. And Jaime like nailed it on vocals. He
Totally.
just destroyed it.
100%. Yeah, that was great. We did do a good job at that song.
Yeah, man. We did. We it's like the truest version of a cover we've ever done.
Yeah, probably so.
You know, because in All Severed, when we were doing like War Ensemble and shit like that, like it was
Sex type thing. Remember doing that?
Oh my god!
How different that was.
That was a lot of fun.
That was really fun.
Yeah,
we rewrote that song in a way.
We
was
did.
cool, yeah.
We did.
Oh,
I wish my Zune still worked because I have a copy from a rehearsal of that on there. So
might have to look into digging that thing out.
if you can do that, I will give you money. Like I will.
Well then, I will charge you money.
I will give you cash money if you can, because I still have my Zune. That's
Okay, yeah. Now let's look into doing that because I would love to hear that again.
yeah.
So yeah. Anyway, by some bizarre happenstance, I was into COC before I was into Down.
Amazing.
So I love the guitar playing on, especially Deliverance. Like,
Okay.
there is so much weird shit that some of which they do on Down as well, like these weird little overdubs, like for effect,
Mm-hmm.
that come in like really stark against what else is going on. That shit's all over that album.
Oh, how
Like
cool.
that's very much, to my mind, like a Pepper Keenan thing.
Okay. Well, I'm listening to that tomorrow.
But the guitar playing and the songwriting and like the riffs and the melodies and shit are all so fucking cool on Deliverance. It's one of those like rare. This is almost a perfect album for me.
Okay.
So I came into this with that knowledge, and then obviously knowing who Phil was and what he was bringing to this.
Okay.
And so I was like, yeah, man, just get this shit in there. This is everything I want is in this album.
I mean, this is the only album, or like the only, like Down is the only supergroup that's actually super.
Right.
Oh.
Yeah, I looking at the Wikipedia page, it's like metal supergroup, and I'm like, yeah, I guess so, huh? Yeah, fucking A, right?
Right, because I saw that too, and I was like, that's not what they are. And I was like, I guess it is what they fucking are.
Yeah.
Because every member was part of another well-established band.
Yeah.
You know, Pantera, Crowbar, I Hate God, Corrosion of Conformity.
Yeah.
You know, like those are all big deal fucking bands. Also, a tidbit I came across is Kirk played the bass on the record. So, even though the other bassist or the other guy, Todd Strange, like played live, and I think it's got like a songwriting credit or something.
Mm-hmm.
And Phil apparently wrote like some of these songs like just on his own.
Yeah, so part of what I read was that he and Pepper wrote this album from like 90 to 95.
Yeah.
Which is kind of
Yeah,
wild
yeah.
to think about. That they were writing some of this shit back in the Cowboys from Hell days. Like, what? You had this shit? You had some of this shit rolling around back then? Wow. Wild, dude.
And it's also, it's so weird because like it's hard for me to imagine, you know, what was one of the ones that they said that like, I think like Everything or Underneath Everything was one of the ones that it said that Phil wrote or something. And it's like, it's hard for me to imagine like all the other stuff that he's done. Like why? But then I don't know, man, maybe he keeps all those, maybe he writes a lot of the other Down shit too. I don't know. Like he's like, oh, that's where all those riffs go is for the fucking new Down EPs or whatever, you know, Down EPs.
Fuck, maybe, yeah.
Well, because when I think of Phil as a guitar player, again, like so much of my association with this dude has to do with those fucking whole videos. Like, I'm faster than that. Like that's all
Right.
you know.
Yep.
Like doing some fucking like chromatic fucking black metal thing on a shitty guitar. That's all I think of Phil as a guitar player. I don't think of him like I don't think of Phil doing that.
Right.
But apparently fucking did.
Son of a bitch.
Been holding out on me, Philip.
I mean, clearly he's got shit to say. Well, he's got shit to say. Clearly he's got things to put out there.
He has emotions to express.
There you go. Thank you. Yes. Yeah, man. I had a note about like COC, but the first note I had was just, man, this album sounds great. All these dudes at their peak. Like, what more do you want?
It's like the best example of it feels so organic.
It feels like everything on here was like meant to be this way.
And not meant by the guys who were playing it. Like it was
right. A higher power
yes.
like deigned this.
Yes.
So
yes, because it feels like this is tracked how a Sabbath record was tracked. It feels like everyone's playing at the same time, and then they went in and did some, and then they spent like 3 weeks doing crazy overdubs.
And you know what? Maybe there are overdubs. I know that there are overdubs. I'm not trying to say there aren't, but like even the ones that happened, apart from like the vocals, I guess theoretically they have 2 guitar players, so. All the overdubs I'm thinking of, there are some vocal ones, I think.
There's lots. There's lots of layering and stuff like and overdubs and stuff like that.
I guess most of the stuff I'm thinking of is like guitar stuff, but they could have theoretically done it with both guitar players just doing it, but I think they're pretty clearly overdubs. I think it's safe to say.
I think so.
But it doesn't. The point is, it doesn't feel like it.
Right. It just feels like this big, just organic metallic slab. Like it's just It's just.
There you go.
And what
it feels thick. It feels like yeah.
And what blows my mind really is just like if you just had a record that just had this vibe, that would be enough. And you just be like, okay, man, just that feel. I mean, there's a whole fucking subgenres of metal that are just based on like, all right, just grab this, catch this feel, and just stay in it.
Mm-hmm.
But there's so many hooks.
The songwriting, the riffs, it feels like vocal performance on each song is like wildly diverse.
Yes.
And it's all so good.
And like the diversity of the hook, because the hook isn't always a riff or an overdub. Sometimes it's a transition, like the tempo change in Temptation's Wings, you know? Or sometimes it's a vocal harmony, like a layering of some vocals or you know, shit like that. Or sometimes it's like the drum intro. You know how many times I fucking played like the beginning of Pillars of Eternity or like Losing All, like just because that was the thing too, is like these drums were like the things that were catchy about these drum parts were digestible to me as a kid just figuring out how to play the drums. Like I could go out there and go, you know what I mean? I couldn't go out there and go like, I couldn't do that, you know, or you know what I mean? Oh God. Oh. At some point, this podcast is just going to devolve into like, we're just going to play the record and I'm just going to make people watch us just react to the fucking record. There's no other way to convey how passionate I feel about this music than for you to see what it does to me when I fucking, or if you just drive around my neighborhood when I listen to it, you see me going, see me fucking, you know, air drumming and shit.
Fuck, what is the song where it's like, I give up, that's enough?
Shit, I don't know.
Why can't I think of? I can't even find it in the goddamn lyrics. I give up. That's enough.
Oh yeah.
I can't. Whatever. There's a transition in that song where they cut out. I can't remember which part it is. It's before they go into the second verse, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just. Yeah. And that's the whole thing. It's this weird little back and forth guitar thing, and it's just so fucking good.
Yeah, dude.
It's so perfect.
You're totally right.
That's one of those transitions. There's so many of those on this album.
Yes.
Oh, God. Yeah.
Let's see.
So many cool little things.
Oh, well, it's not a Jason Mraz song, Google. Ugh.
Is it? Did he ghostwrite down songs?
All right, well, yeah. But I know what part you're talking about.
You know what I'm talking about.
I know what you're talking about. But yeah, man, there's so many things like that. Like each song has something like that. Like we could sit
Literally.
and go through each track and be like, dude, what's your thing? What's your thing in this song?
Yeah.
What's your thing in this song?
We could pick 3 things and leave one from each song on this album, damn near.
Yeah. I had like a whole like joke like queued up of like if you were gonna be like, so what are your essential tracks? And
I didn't even. Yeah. Anyway.
And I was gonna be like, oh, you know, man, and it's like, hold on, let me look here. I get the track order and the names mixed up. Yeah. So my essential tracks are Temptations, Wings, Lifer, Pills of Eternity, Rehab, Hill the Leaf, Underneath Everything. That was gonna be my joke.
I would have appreciated that. I do appreciate that.
So funny thing, right? Because this is the CD that I bought. This
Nice.
is the case, right? Not the CD, because as we mentioned, it got stolen.
Yeah.
And so, little thing, you see this right here?
Uh-huh.
This is from it being in the sun in my fucking, I think my Monte Carlo. And so
On the
like,
dash.
yeah, some shit like that.
Nice.
Like being stuck in the seat.
It's got history.
Yeah, man.
Hell yeah.
Um,
So the only knock I have on this album at all is little tiny things here and there, like the bong rip sound effect that they throw in there.
I am here for it.
I am, but I'm like, I don't know.
The reason that I am definitely here for it is because to me it's almost a reference to Sabbath, because Sabbath does it.
Oh, totally.
In the song Sweet Leaf.
100%.
And so it's like,
100%.
you know,
I get why it's there.
and I think that
I don't begrudge them it.
Sure.
Yeah.
No, I'm
But I hear it, I'm like, okay. All right, guy. But
yeah.
yeah, it's fine.
I gotcha.
It's like, listen, I'm trying to knock this out. Like,
That's
this album's like fucking perfect, and pretty much in every way.
Yeah, I thought I kept this when I was listening to it. I was sort of still in that like, you know, essential one that mindset. I was like, I bet there's one on the second half that I'm gonna be like, oh yeah, there's the one. Never happened.
Yeah, not really. Yeah.
Each song that it got to, you know, was like, oh wait, oh this is the one with that thing in it.
Yeah, right.
You know?
Yeah, each one of these songs has like so many that things in it. Like there are so many interesting things that happen throughout all of these songs, and they keep it interesting the whole time. Like the riffs, the vocal performances,
Right.
the rhythms, the transitions, all that shit is just always interesting.
Right. I don't think that there's another more hook-laden, organic sounding record. I don't think it fucking exists,
You might be right.
because all the hooks are just I mean, I'm just saying the same again, but it's like it's diverse. And the song structures aren't they're not really like, they're loosely like verse chorus because most of the songs do have a chorus and they have sections that aren't choruses, but there's also these like other just little refrains and whatnot that are like they wouldn't be a chorus, but they are the highlight of the fucking song, you know. I can't think of one. I'm not gonna try to sing it right now, but I'm gonna try to figure out what it is. It might be this one. I think it might be Underneath Everything, but like the outro of this one. Oh, that's the one you're talking about.
Yeah. Yes. So much going on there that's so good.
And like the way that they changed from like halftime to regular time.
Yes.
The second half of Lifer is a masterclass in that.
Oh, 1000% yes.
Oh God.
Yep. Yeah, I really want to go back and watch the rest of that live performance that you posted, because even just watching man, maybe it was Pillars of Eternity.
That's the opener.
Oh, they did open with that. No, it was something. So something later. Oh, because they didn't play it in track order, did they?
No.
I don't know what the fuck it was. But there's some part towards the end of the song where Phil has just a clean singing part.
Yeah.
And maybe it is that song.
Yeah.
And he's just like there on stage, like operatically going for it. And it's all it has to be. And it's so interesting to throw that in there, but he does it so well. And shit like that is.
Yeah.
But stuff like that, seeing him do that live and seeing them play those songs live with all these weird little things, they don't necessarily feel like songs that crowds are going to be going crazy for. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like these aren't always like sick metal things to mosh to.
Oh.
And so seeing those live, it's interesting to see how they pull those off and how they feel.
That's interesting.
In a live setting. I love it though.
I understand what you're saying. Yeah, this is definitely a like listening experience. This isn't like let's get to the fucking mosh riff. Like,
yeah.
It's definitely not that.
Yeah.
Looking at you, Hellyeah. Let's get to the part that everyone sings because everyone knows because the melody that's in everything.
Because we called our band Hellyeah and we called the song Hellyeah and we called the album Hellyeah.
We're coming for you, Vinnie.
Rip, buddy, but get ready.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
So, yeah, I there's so many great things.
Yeah, I don't know that I have much more to say constructively about this album other than I fucking love it and it's one of the best albums of all time.
Yeah, man, I will fight. I'm willing to commit violence for that statement that you just made. Yeah, I anyone who wants to say that this isn't, I'm ready. Another thing, you know how this is some old shit right there? Is I have my like initials.
Oh yes.
Written on the fucking barcode.
So that's like you pulled out the back sleeve and wrote it on the paper.
Yeah. Yeah, man. Because that means that I took this shit around with me, and I didn't want to misplace it. It's on it's on some of the Pantera ones too.
That was probably like you had that on the band bus when we went on like band trips.
Exactly.
And listened to CDs.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's exactly what that fucking means.
Good shit.
Yeah. Let me see if I had any other random things. Yeah, every tone on this record is immaculate. Maybe the perfect drum sound. Jimmy's playing as a masterclass in heavy groove. Every hit oozes authenticity.
Yeah.
Because, man, the fucking drumming on this record is perfect. Because it's when there's space, he throws out a hook. Like he throws out something that's catchy on the fucking drums.
Yeah.
And it's groovy, but it's so muscular and heavy without being like rushed.
Mm-hmm.
And while still being like groovy and in the fucking pocket. And it's real fucking special what he does. He's also like the guitar player in fucking I Hate God and
oh wow.
And whatever. He's one of those guys that's just like whatever band, oh I Hate God, you need this, oh Crowbar, you need that, or whatever you need this. He's one of those fucking dudes. He's
awesome.
Just another level.
Awesome.
Proto trend fill.
Yeah.
This is like the sweet spot of like my favorite tone.
I think I agree. Yeah.
Because he's doing stuff here harsh, like the harsh high vocals that he doesn't do on Far Beyond Driven.
I know. Yeah. Exactly.
And that he later sort of like really expounds on Trendkill, but he's able to do like all of this singing that he isn't able to do in Pantera.
Right. There's kind of no space for it in Pantera's songs.
Right.
Like there is here.
Right. And it's just amazing.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, all the songs have really unique structures. I think this is another thing about it, and I think I'm glad that we're both sort of having the same problem, which is this album is like just one big fucking experience. And like each song doesn't have like this individual identity. Like whenever you like listen to like when we were like taking apart a Pantera record,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like, well, this is shedding skin, and these parts are only in shedding skin, and this is using my third arm, and this is Hard Lives, and this is 5 Minutes Alone, and each one of these have these distinct identities, and this everything blurs.
Oh yeah, totally.
And I think it's because of just how consistent the vibe is. I think it's because of how weird the songs are, structure wise, how dynamic it is, and sort of like how random the hooks are, because the hooks don't always come in the same place. It's not like, oh, here comes the solo, here comes the cool drum, here comes the cool Vinnie lick, here comes the killer dime riff,
Yeah. Like on the one hand, you can say that this album feels consistent throughout, but on the other hand, you can at the same time say that there are all these weird little different things in each song, but
Yeah.
also they don't necessarily the songs don't necessarily have their own identity. But the thing is, they do all these weird little things in every song,
Right.
so it like works as a
Yeah.
whole,
It's like the album has an identity, but maybe each song doesn't. In a
I think that's
sense.
probably more true than it's not. Yeah, for sure. For sure.
So I can smell the weed on Hail the Leaf, and I love it. Here's another like silly thing on the song Rehab. That's the one where they have the cowbell in the middle. Like,
Do-do.
and then you wait, and then it's panned to the other side.
Right. Right.
And it's just total. So like, did you ever watch the Year and a Half in the Life of Metallica? Did you ever watch that fucking
Mm-mm.
documentary?
That was the Binge and Purge thing.
No, that's different.
Okay.
Binge and Purge was live concert shit.
Oh, that was not okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
Year and a Half in the Life was when sort of like half of it is talking about them making the Black Album, and the other half is them just it's more documentary style with music videos interspersed throughout. But there's a section in there where they're doing like overdubs on the Black Album, and they just go out to this table, and there's just all this like bullshit, like they're doing like Foley artists or something like that,
Like papers, like with things on them, or
like all these different like. What I remember is James Hetfield picking up like a fucking gun and like going click clack.
oh, I see what you're saying. Okay.
Click clack for like I don't know, like on Sad But True or something. Gah, 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 gah. He's like clack clack.
Like dun, click, click, dun.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay,
Yes.
that's what I'm
Exactly. Like that kind of shit. You know what I mean?
Okay.
And I almost imagine that how this record was made is that in like 2 or 3 days they tracked everything. Like they got the bones of the drums, and they didn't do scratch. I'm imagining. I don't know. I don't fucking know.
Right.
But I'm imagining that they didn't do like, oh, I'll scratch track you and then I'll go back and overdub these. No. Like everything was as is, and then they spent like 2 weeks with like a table of bullshit, like just going in and like, hey, what else can we put on top of this? What else can we put on top of this? What else can? I got an idea, and then there's an overdub, and then there's this, and oh, I found this cowbell, or whatever.
Yeah, man, maybe. Yeah.
That's how I want to picture it in my head.
It's your headcanon for
That's
down.
my headcanon.
For NOLA.
And then I can't fucking deal with how good Losing All is. It's
really good. Yep.
So yeah, I think that's.
What more can you say?
Yeah. Fucking incredible. The great tragedy is that somehow I was never able to really get into any of their other records the way that I got into this one.
Yeah.
For whatever reasons.
Yeah.
I revisited the second one and I was like, this is really good. This is cool. This is interesting. I'm enjoying listening to this, And maybe if I put the time in, I would enjoy it in a similar way. But it feels like a totally different animal.
It really does. Yeah.
It doesn't feel as organic. It feels very epic in a weird way. Like
yeah, the thing I noticed was they like added a lot of reverb in a lot of places that it didn't necessarily feel like it needed.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why this stuck out so hard. I mean, there wasn't a lot on the first one, I guess. Is maybe a reason, but
so
like that first album just feels pretty raw. Isn't quite the right word, but it's just like they didn't do a lot to it. Like you're saying, like they just went in and did it, and there you go.
Yeah.
Whereas this one feels it feels more produced.
It does, yeah. Well, at that point, they were sort of like a known quantity, and they were going to you knew it was going to make money, and you knew there was going to be tour support, and, there's probably like more, because that's the thing too, is they were probably signed for that deal, And it was like, dude, if we just put Phil's name on it, we know we're going to make our money back.
Which
And-
apparently they did, literally.
Yeah, right. And so they're probably, but by the time, Down 2 rolled around or this third one,
Because this was 02?
I don't remember.
I think that's what it said.
So let's look it up. Go to the phones. Now that one was 07. Yeah, 02 was Down 2. And,
What? Oh, this is 3. Okay.
yeah,
I'm sorry.
that's 3. I don't have a physical copy of 2.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, I don't know that I've ever really listened to this one, honestly.
I got it and I was all excited for it, and it just didn't grab me the way the other one did. I don't have a good reason for it. I don't think it's because it's bad or an inferior record, or anything like that. It's just that first one's just real special to me.
Yeah, it is.
So
Agreed.
Yeah,
sorry, I was talking about 2 with all those
I know.
things. Okay.
I know. I was holding that one up, but I was talking about 2 also. Yeah. But yeah, man, I really like that. When I would listen to 2, I think it's it's totally worth a listen. I enjoyed it.
Yeah. I guess the main thing is that Phil just doesn't sound like he does on that album, to me, on NOLA.
I guess that's true.
I think it's a big part of it for me, honestly.
I guess that's true.
And he's doing things that are like varied from song to song, but just none of them quite hit like they do on.
I mean,
that first one's a lot to live up to. So
Sure.
maybe I'm sure that's a big part of it.
Sure. I wonder how much of it is like that, like where you have your whole life to write your debut record and, kind of thing.
Yeah.
How much of it is that thing? Because they
spent fucking 5 years working on it, at least.
Right.
So
right. And it coming from like a very like pure love of it kind of place. And then
maybe, yeah.
And then Down 2 is like, well, I guess this is the thing we're doing now that me and the brothers aren't getting along.
Right.
I don't know.
I don't know. It's possible.
I don't know. All right. So I think we're on to something new.
What's up next?
Some new.
Have we found some new power? Perhaps?
Found power.
Okay.
All right. So I already have a relationship with this record. And so I was just revisiting it and remembering it. But you not so much.
So I bought it when it came out. Like, obviously.
Okay.
Like, it's Dimebag and Vinnie. Of course I'm gonna buy this album. And it came out in 04. I was like, hell yeah, I'm gonna buy it. Well, no pun intended.
I remember like downloading an MP3 at the Lee College computer lab.
Nice.
Listening to this.
Wow, yeah. So yeah, I bought it when it came out, and I put it on a few times, and I was like, this is just not really doing much for me. And I just kind of didn't think about it past that. And then listened to it again. I was actually excited to listen to it again for this, because I was like, maybe there was something there that just didn't hit me right back then, and I'll go back and because I haven't listened to it since probably like 2004.
I see.
And I was like, maybe something will, it'll hit me in a different way now. And not really, no.
Interesting. Okay.
It's basically the same. It's kind of just uninteresting.
So for me, this is, I don't think I got into it right when it came out. I think I got into it a few years later. I bought it right when it came out. But, like we've talked about, we were already, like, reinventing the still already kind of rubbed us the wrong way.
Right. Yeah.
So,
like, Pantera or members thereof were no longer like a golden ticket to amazing music.
Right.
As far as I was
where we
concerned.
were at.
Exactly. Yeah.
Where we were at this time, especially, this is when we were getting more and more into extreme stuff. This is when we were starting to incorporate, not just getting into that stuff. This is when we were starting to incorporate those things into our music. This was, like when we were very much into Meshuggah, and we were very much, you know what I mean? And so,
yeah.
So all that stuff. But nonetheless, so yeah, my thing about this record is that when it's good, it's fucking amazing. And when it's bad, it's meh. It's meh. I don't want to judge this record too harshly because it's the first record.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, man, like they were finding, like maybe they're just throwing a lot of shit at the wall and like kind of finding their sound and figuring out what works. I do appreciate that Dime and Vinnie, being the monsters that they are, wanted to be in a band that was so devoted to songs.
What do you mean?
Like, so devoted. Like it says some. I think it says a lot about those guys that they wanted to form a band where a big part of their role was how good can we make this singer sound.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
was that like one of the directives of this band? You're saying?
I mean, to me, when you listen to it, it's
because I don't like. My first and primary note.
I have some things to say about the vocals. Don't get me
well, my first and primary note on this album is I kind of wish there was just an instrumental mix of this album with no vocals at all.
And
because that's kind of the least interesting thing about this album to me.
I disagree.
Well,
when they're good,
well, they're never really good.
Fuck you. I'll fight. Okay. I'll fight over some of that.
Okay. All right.
I guess like what I mean is that, you know, like Dime and Vinnie didn't have any interest in forming like a fucking like Guitar Hero shred band.
Right.
You know, like Dime wanted to play fucking riffs that had cool lyrics that people wanted to sing over them and wanted to have choruses that people sang. You know what I mean? Like he wanted to play songs, you know?
Yeah.
Eddie Van Halen was his hero, not Yngwie Malmsteen. And I feel like fucking donuts. I feel like that says something about him. I feel like, you know what I mean? And I feel like that's valuable. And
I mean, he could have easily gone out and formed like a supergroup with a bunch of other known dudes. But
right.
I mean, these guys were known. These were from other bands.
Kinda.
Yeah. I mean, they were from other bands. Right? They weren't nobodies.
I think Pat like played guitar in Halford or something.
Yeah. I mean, that's not nothing, you know.
Of course it's not. No, I mean, fucking no. But like he wasn't a name.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
That's what I mean. Yeah, they could have gone out and formed a band with fucking Zakk Wylde or whoever the fuck.
Right, where like the punchline of every song was like, "Here's where Dime takes a solo."
Sure, exactly.
You know.
Yeah, but they put together a band and they put together an album.
Right, and they were like, "We're gonna do it from the ground up. We're gonna go out and tour clubs, and we're gonna do." You know what I mean? Like those guys hadn't played in a fucking club in like 15 years. You know, when they toured on this, they played at the goddamn Engine Room. We've played at the Engine Room.
Right. Yes.
One of my biggest regrets is not going to that show for obvious reasons.
Totally.
Because a few weeks later he was shot.
Yep.
And so I don't. So there's a lot of things that I think says things about their personality and stuff like that that I really respect.
Sure.
I think that's really cool.
I agree with that. Yeah. Not to denigrate their intentions.
Yeah,
or their heart or their passion for doing what they're doing here,
right?
In any way.
Before I get to the vocals, I don't really like the drum sound on this record. That's something I wanted to comment on as well.
Okay.
I don't know. He might have been playing smaller drums, but to me, the playing very much sounds like Vinnie. Like that's Vinnie's style. That's how Vinnie plays. But the sound isn't Vinnie.
The thing I noticed is it didn't sound as full as maybe I would expect.
Right.
Is that kind of what you're? Okay.
Yeah. There's something, and I mean, man, he's experimenting. Man, he's doing some different shit. Cool, man.
Yeah.
Do some different shit. But all the drums on the Hellyeah records do sound like that. Does sound like Vinnie.
That's true.
So that's a thing.
I like one of the things that stuck out to me on this album was like the drum parts. I guess they did sound. Like you said, they sound like Vinnie. They sounded fucking interesting and like cool. And for the most part.
They did. And I think that's another thing that's really novel about this record. It's like, cool, man, you just get a whole fucking record of fucking listen to Dime and Vinnie do Dime and Vinnie shit. But it's not close enough to Pantera that I'm mad that it doesn't make me feel the way Far Beyond Driven and Tranquil and Cowboys From Hell and Vulgar make me feel, the way that I felt about Reinventing. So in some ways, I enjoy listening to this more than I enjoy listening to Reinventing the Steel, because it doesn't make me mad the way that Reinventing the Steel makes me mad.
I see what you're saying. Yeah.
And it might not be as interesting as Reinventing the Steel, but I think that
that's a weird thing to think about.
But interesting doesn't necessarily mean good.
No, I know. Yeah, yeah.
Like Saint Anger's really interesting to listen to. And so, it's like, what's your...
What are you coming to this for, really?
Yeah. And if so...
Yeah, so for the dime aspect of this album, like, there are times on here where I'm like, oh man, Dime did a really cool thing right there.
Mm-hmm.
But they're few and far between.
Okay.
And most of what's happening on this album, I don't like the guitar tone at all.
Okay.
On this album, I think it just sounds like sludgy shit.
All right.
For the most part, the solos are like weirdly mixed back.
Okay.
For being as like, obviously, here's a Dime solo. You're hearing a Dime solo, but it's like kind of weirdly back in the mix. I don't know why they did that, but so like a lot of the what riffs there are is just kind of like, I don't know, just not a lot going on there really. They're not even so much aggressively bad or boring. It's just like just kind of not a lot going on.
Yeah.
And maybe it's like you said. Maybe it is more in service of the vocals, and I can see how that is.
Yeah.
The case.
Right. And so a lot of the song now, there's a lot of songs on here that I unironically love. So, but before I start talking about those, I guess talk about the vocals. So, to me, the vocals are the most interesting part of the record. It's obvious to me that Pat is more of a classic metal vocalist that's trying to do like new metal harsh thing.
Yeah, I guess it's new metal. I was trying to think of what to call it, but I guess it's new metal.
Like he's trying to do that thing, but that's not really what he does. But you have to do that if you're going to be in a metal band in 2004. You have to like scream and shit.
Yeah.
And what he does ends up being like this weird. It's funny because it's very much like a cross between like Chad Gray and Phil Anselmo, what he's trying to do. And there's some sections where it's like, man, I wish I could just hear Chad Gray sing this, or man, I wish I could just hear Phil sing this. Is how I feel about a lot of it.
Yeah.
But when he's doing his thing, when he's just doing like that, like clean metal singing, to me, that when that does, like, my favorite songs in here are the most melodic songs, and I think that what he does vocally is fucking untouchable. Like on Pride, on Blink of an Eye, Save Me, Reborn, also a little bit.
Save Me definitely stuck out to me as like, this is a really good performance.
Yeah. And like, and Pride, that one really does it for me. The vocals on that one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man. You can't fuck with, that's amazing.
Yeah. So
like when it works, man, it's amazing.
I see. I got you. Yeah.
But there's a lot of stuff on it that kind of like doesn't work. I think like the song Explode, I really like the music, but the lyrics are real lame on that one in particular. I'm gonna explode. You don't know me. Like it. All right, guys.
I want to amend my complaint a little bit, and it's not so much about the vocals being my problem. It's the lyrics. 100% the lyrics.
The aggressive lyrics feel lame as fuck a lot. A lot of the times.
They're really stupid. Almost all of the time, they're very stupid.
I really love how it's a juxtaposition of our actual personalities. That in a lot of these cases, that I'll be like, yeah, it doesn't quite hit the mark, and you're like, it's fucking stupid. Because if you're like, that's not what happens in real life. Like,
I'm not doing it for like the show. It's just this is how
it's like you put the camera on and Richard gets more diplomatic. You turn the camera on and Robert's like, it's fucking stupid.
Fucking bullshit. Quote me, motherfucker. Catch me outside.
Like I've almost gotten into fights with people at concerts we were at together because they said they like Dream Theater. Like strangers. That's because you're fucking stupid, huh? You know, whatever. It's funny.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I hear what you're saying. And then another thing is like some of the songs like never seem to get going. Like there's one on there where it's like, okay, we're getting to the hook, and it's like, that's all it is? That's all I'm getting? Okay.
That's what you had there, huh? Okay.
Or there's ones that where the chorus is a really, really good hook, but the rest of it is like, meh, kind of forgettable. That's how like Crawl is for me. Like I really. Yeah. Anytime Pat's in that register, I'm gonna love it. You know. And so, and I like the song "Fuck You." I think it does it. It's enough. It's novel. It's silly.
Yes, it is.
It has Corey Taylor on it,
and somebody else too.
Really?
I saw there were two people on that song. I think Jerry Cantrell is also apparently on there.
Excuse me.
And I think the chorus or something or the.
Well, that's strange.
Yeah. It was weird because hearing that, I was like, that kind of sounds like a Cantrell kind of vibe, and then I saw he was in there.
How about that? Yeah.
So cool. I mean, fuck, man. If you're gonna get some guests, get some goddamn
Get
good
some
ones.
goddamn guests. So speaking of guests, how weird does Zakk Wylde's vocals sound on Soul Soul Bleed?
So wait, okay. So have you listened to much Black Label Society?
No.
Because that's just what he sounds like.
That's just what he sounds
yeah,
like. Okay.
And it's weird.
Okay.
It is weird. You're right. Like Zakk is just a weird singer. His whole thing is like this weird, extreme vibrato, but like that's just how he sings. And that's just what he does.
I think so. Just imagine being me and somehow never like really getting into Black Label Society, even though I was a huge Ozzy fan.
Right.
Huge Zakk Wylde era of Ozzy fan, and the first time that I ever hear Zakk Wylde's vocals, you know,
it's that.
It's that.
That's what he does. That's him.
And I was like, who is getting hurt, and why did they record it?
Oh, that's just what he does.
And
Yep.
So yeah, that part was startling to me.
When I got to that part of the song, I had forgotten he was on there, and then I heard that, and I was like, man, that sounds like Zakk Wylde. And then it turns out there he is.
So
I thought it was really cool that they got like Zakk Wylde in there, Corey Taylor in there,
right,
to do this shit with him,
right?
Because it's like, man, if you're gonna get guests, like get good guests, like you did, and like these are guys that we know from like knowing who Pantera is and what they're about. Like they were huge fans of these guys.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, Corey like being Corey and Zakk being influenced by Pantera over
of
the
course,
years and all this.
Right? Yeah, like
that's really cool to see.
Like I said before, I don't think that you get Slipknot's first record without Far Beyond Driven.
Probably, yeah.
I think that I was thinking about it, and I really do think that I'll save that.
Okay.
I'll save that for later.
One of my other notes just says in quotes, "Fuck you." Okay, dude.
Motherfucker, fuck you.
I was like, all right, man. Okay.
I think one of the reasons that I like that song is I like the novelty of the tempo and like hearing Vinnie play in that tempo.
Totally.
And because there's not a lot of Pantera songs that are that tempo, and I think that like that goes a long way for me on that song.
Totally.
To hear Vinnie play aggressively in that tempo, that you could have read the phone book over that song, and I'd probably be like, man, it might be my favorite song.
Fair enough.
But yeah, like, a lot of these lyrics are lame, and then this is something here. I do think it's pretty funny that the Trend Killers themselves basically made a new metal record that even has a few rap verses on it.
Huh. Interesting conundrum there.
So hold on a minute. Anyway, it's in here somewhere on the song.
Right.
You know,
It's got that cadence to it.
that's a fucking rap verse. So I have to point that out. You know, it's kind of funny. It's like, dude, you guys made a big deal about this. I didn't make a big deal about this. You made a big deal about this.
I'm just reading what you said, dude. That's all.
Yeah, like you literally called your album The Great Southern Treadkill, and then you called it Reinventing the Steel, and then 3 years later you're
Well, we know they didn't reinvent fucking shit.
that's you know. Like that's like Sabbath's last record with Ozzy was called Never Say Die.
You can't do that. You can't do that,
It's
guys.
not allowed.
History has shown
Yeah.
that you can't make declarations.
Yeah. But yeah, I think that's pretty much all I got for Damage Plan.
Yeah, it's not a bad album.
No,
I'm gonna say it's not a bad album.
no.
It's just not what I want to listen to, really.
There's aspects of it that I have a definite soft spot for, because I have a soft spot for that kind of thing. You know
Right.
what I mean? Which I think it's gonna come up when we talk about Hellyeah.
Oh yeah. And to your point earlier, like I think it's fucking cool that they went and did this.
Right, and it's
So-
like the greatest. I'm stuck. You need to help me out here, okay? I'm stuck on a divergence of like, do I talk about? Fuck it, we're gonna stick chronological, okay?
Okay.
Because the real tragedy of this is I didn't get to hear what the second Damage Plan record was.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
because they were touring for this record and Dimebag was fucking murdered.
Yes.
You know, and that.
Yep. What more is there to say than fucking tragic. Absolutely.
So what were you doing? Do you remember when you found out?
God, I don't.
Was it me calling you?
Maybe, I don't know. I probably saw it on the internet at that point.
I remember seeing it on Blabbermouth.
Yeah. I think I saw it on like a message board or some shit.
And I remember compartmentalizing it because it was close to finals. And I remember like I remember like I'm gonna put that to the side. And
Yeah.
I'm not gonna process that. But then I remember calling Jeremy. I must have called you too. And,
I'm sure.
And you must have not wanted to, but me and Jeremy went up to the memorial in Arlington. And
Right. Why didn't I? Fuck, man.
There's no way I didn't call you.
No, you definitely did.
Thank God.
Yeah,
You're like, I always wondered why you didn't call me, you asshole. I wanted to go too.
18 years later. What the fuck, man? God.
Payback time. Break your studio, bitch.
I'm gonna flip this. It's too heavy. I can't.
This is
Yeah, not funny.
this is a real. I had to when I was build this table, and putting the shit back on. I had to like get the neighbor to come over. Like, hey, is any of you guys home to come over and help me flip this motherfucker over?
Any of you guys who don't get hernias regularly, can you help me pick up this giant slab?
Yeah, it's a hardy table.
Yeah, I don't remember what the hell I was doing. It was late 2004.
Yeah, December 2004.
I don't fucking know offhand. If I thought about it, I'm sure I could come up with it. But there was some reason I couldn't go.
Who knows?
Yeah. But yeah, you told me all about it after the fact, and
Yeah, it was wild.
yeah.
But I do remember how, it's been so long now. I mean, shit, it's been almost 20 years.
Yep.
But at the time, I mean, and for like probably like 10, maybe even 15 years or something afterwards, at least for the first 10, it was just always like, this is just something that just shouldn't have happened. This is just not what was supposed to happen. was always how I thought about it. It always had this measure of unreality to it. Like, that's not what was supposed to happen. Like, Dime was supposed to, like, grow old and be like this elder, like Santa Claus of metal, and then tragically die. Like, he was supposed to die like Lemmy did,
Yeah.
you know?
Because you couldn't have asked for a better elder statesman
Exactly.
of metal guitar playing.
Yeah. Yeah. Or even like Van Halen, you know, or something. Like he wasn't supposed to be executed on stage, you know? And it was just unbelievable. And it was unbelievable for many, many years to come afterwards. And now it's just part of the background, right? You don't think about it much, but about it, man, when I think about that at that time, man, it was devastating in such a unique and terrible way. Because even when like Cliff Burton died, like that was an accident.
Yeah.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
it's so insane, so absolutely insane what happened to him.
Yeah, because I mean that doesn't happen.
No.
Also, like musicians, rock stars, any type of music, musicians die all the time.
Right.
But this doesn't happen.
Mm-mm.
This is such a wildly bizarre circumstance.
Yeah.
That like. Yeah.
Yeah, and so I remember, you know, so we went up to the memorial. I remember very strange things about it. I remember like standing in line, it being really cold. Because it used to get cold in the beginning of December 20 years ago in Texas. Like really cold.
Yeah. I guess in Dallas it gets colder than here, but
and I remember Jeremy being like, "You just got to let it get you. Quit fighting it." Like he said some shit like that. And I still think about it. You know, like, okay, I'm cold.
okay, that's better. Wait, I'm still cold.
I'm just going to be cold. Like, it's more of like a mental, you know, like more of a like, okay, I'm going to stop doing all this bullshit, you know. Why can't I feel my fingers? No,
right. Actually, it's still a problem. Shit.
But I remember that. I remember there being a sign on the door that said like entering this building is consent to being filmed. You know, I remember seeing that, and you go in, and it was like a convention center, and the first sort of third of the room was like roped off, and it was like chairs, and that's where all the famous motherfuckers were.
Right.
And then the last 2/3 of the room was just open, and that's where all of us were.
You had to get tickets to this?
No, we just went. We just went to where it was.
Okay.
Like I had the address. I printed it off on MapQuest, and we just fucking drove to fucking Arlington, found it, and fucking went in. You know.
Right.
And you know, and Jerry Cantrell was there, and he sang. You know, like him and some other dudes sang a lot of songs. Which was real nice. That was a lot of it. That was like a lot of the time was just Jerry Cantrell performing.
Oh, wow.
Actually.
Okay.
And there was a dude who was singing along as if he was auditioning to be in the next singer in Alice in Chains. Like he was beside us, and he was singing at the top of his lungs.
Oh, in the audience.
In the audience.
Okay.
Yeah, in the audience. And he was just going for it. And he sounded great too.
Was it that dude?
It was not William Duvall.
William Duvall. There you go.
No,
Okay.
it was not.
Okay.
But it was wild, and they, you know, and different people kept coming out and talking, and there was all this, and you felt like you were there was all this, and it's like there was a tension in the air of like, oh, Phil, you know, maybe Phil's here, you know what I mean?
Right.
And he wasn't.
He was not there. Yeah.
Because
at the time they had basically had a huge falling out.
Right, and the family was very specific of like, you stay the fuck away, you piece of shit.
Right. I remember hearing about that.
And you know, I remember Nick Bocott came out and he told a story about Dime at like Dime doing a clinic at like some guitar shop.
Mm-hmm.
And there was like some kid who like came up afterwards and was like, "Oh, I love, man, oh, dude, I love, and Dime's like, "Will you play, man?" And the kid's like, "Oh no, I don't have a guitar." And he's like, "Where's your dad?" Or some shit like that. And he's like, "You gotta get this guy a guitar, man." Some shit like that.
Mm-hmm.
And the dad was like, "Can't do it." Like he couldn't afford it.
Yeah.
Basically.
Right.
And Dime was like, "All right, cool. And then like when it sort of died down, like he grabbed someone from the staff and he was like, "See those two, don't let those two leave, blah, blah, blah." And he waited till everyone had left, and he like just bought a guitar for the kid. He was like, "Here, here's yours, take it home." And it wasn't like he got the kid what he needed.
Right.
Like he didn't like, "Here's my signature Dime, photo up, blah."
Right.
He made sure no one was around. Like he didn't do this for anyone. He did it for that kid.
Right. This wasn't so anyone would see him do this.
Exactly.
This was because he thought that kid needed a guitar.
Yeah. And like, was it like $200 to him? Was that fucking matter? You
Right.
know what I mean? And then he also like, he didn't want to make a spectacle of it, and he didn't make it about him, and.
But also, you're buying this because your dad can't afford it, and you don't want to make him feel bad about that. You don't want to embarrass him in front of his.
So my little man here needs a guitar, and his dad's falling on hard times, probably because he's a loser. But don't worry, your Uncle Dime's here. He's gonna give the kid a guitar.
I don't know who you sound like right now, but it's somebody in the back of my mind. That's really you latched onto something there that really made me. Anyway,
yeah,
that was good.
It's like the average between Dimebag and like Macho Man or some shit.
I think it's Macho Man actually. Your Uncle Dime.
Yeah, so your Uncle Dime.
And then there's a little bit.
He's not the cream of the crop. Rises to the top.
Oh
Man.
And so Nick came out and told that story. Zakk was there and talked for a while. Eddie Van Halen was there and made an ass of himself.
Right.
Which I think I told before, but I'll tell it again. But he like played a voicemail, which was really moving and crazy, because he's like, here's Dime's voice on Eddie Van Halen's fucking cell phone
in 2004.
So nutty, right.
But it was like a voicemail that Dime had left him like days prior. Or something like that.
Yeah, because Dimebag just calls Eddie Van Halen.
Of course he does.
Yes,
he does. Of course he does.
And so, but then like, because Eddie was really coked out of his head and was really, really drunk, and it was really hard for Eddie to understand that it wasn't the Eddie show. And so there was a lot of time that was taken out of him. Like a big, huge chunk of time of the event was Eddie like just kind of drunk and mumbling and shit like that. And like Zakk is trying to find words. And Eddie's just, and so then Zakk finally like yelled, "Shut the fuck up!"
Yelling at Eddie Van Halen to shut the fuck up.
It's like, this is one of the most bizarre things I've ever seen. Like, this is up there whenever I saw Little Richard perform a wedding, and Little Richard said, "Marriage is about God and love. It's about Adam and Eve, not Adam and Steve." It's the real fucking thing that I saw.
What year was that?
That was in like 2007, 2006.
Oh.
So at Delta Downs, right? Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, like 20 couples got married at the same fucking time. Yeah.
Holy shit.
Fucking Little Richard. Yeah, I got that phone call and it was like, "Hey man, you free tonight? Like someone couldn't come. Do you want to come see Little Richard marry?" Yes.
I'm there. Yes, I do. All right.
Wop papa loo bop, say I do.
Is that what he said?
No.
Oh no, I bet he did.
No, man, I was sitting there with my friend Chris Crucial, and like his friend was texting him all these fucking jokes the whole fucking time. Wow. Okay. But yeah, like some of the most bizarre things I've seen with people like with a microphone in front of their face, like Zakk Wylde telling Eddie Van Halen to shut the fuck up, and then Little Richard like taking the opportunity to bash gay people. Those are up there.
Yeah.
With like the most surreal things I've seen people say from a fucking stage.
Yeah.
And then then Rex came out and man, you know, he couldn't really find the words, you know, to express anything. And in his autobiography, he talks about like feeling like really rushed and like really pressed for time, and like that there was like a strip club DJ guy that was emceeing it and was like, you know, you gotta hurry up, blah, 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 blah. Which I think there was like a radio DJ, the guy who was like basically emceeing it. But because by the time it got to like, well, we're gonna let Rex talk, like Eddie had fucking like taken up so, you know what I mean?
Right.
So like Rex is out there, and this dude's probably like, well, with curfew and blah blah blah, you know. But anyway, but yeah, so I just remember like how Rex looked in his face and everything like that, and it's fucked up. And then I'm probably gonna take the headphones off to fucking say this. So then Vinnie came out.
Right.
And he came out, and he came out like with like a force. Like he didn't walk out on stage and like wave his hands. Like he came marching out, and he might have had it in his hand at the time, or maybe he got it afterwards or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But he had a cutout of Dime, like a cardboard cutout of Dime or some shit like that.
Like a life size.
Yeah, like the shit you would see like at like
in a Guitar Center or some shit.
Yeah, or like that you would see of like a model in like a convenience store Bud Light ad or something like that.
Yes.
Like you know, and he said, "All I want to hear right now is what I hear every night, is what I've heard every night when I go on stage.
Yeah.
Dime, dime." That's all he said to the crowd. And you know, all of us,
Everybody obliged, of course.
As loud as we could. That was all he wanted. And just like seeing this man like just come out and just
want to see that love for his brother.
that's all he wanted.
Yeah.
He just wanted to hear, and and it's like, what a goddamn special human, what a special brother, what an incredible person that like his favorite part of the show,
right,
when he played was hearing the audience chant his brother's name.
Yes.
You know, and that was all he wanted, was to hear that one last time, you know.
Right.
And fucking crazy.
Yeah.
So I wish you were still with us, Dime. Saying crazy shit. I wish you were still here saying problematic. I wish you were here. I wish I was doing an episode about the racist shit that Dimebag says. On accident.
That's a hope, man.
I would much rather be doing that.
Sure.
You know.
Sure. Yeah.
I'd much rather it's like, God damn it, Dime was hanging out with Ted Nugent again, and this is what they fucking said. God damn it, dude. You were really good at guitar 25 years ago, and you haven't made a fucking record that meant the shit to me in 2 decades. You shut the fuck up. You're making Texans look bad, you red-beard bastard. Like, I'd much rather be doing that.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
Or whatever.
I don't think Don would have gone that far.
I don't either.
But I see what you're saying.
I don't either. But I'm just saying.
I know.
You know, like it. Any alternative.
Anything else
is
would have been better than literally nothing.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
for sure. Yep.
I don't know what else to say about that. So subject change. Not subject change. We're gonna pivot. A tone change.
Okay.
So after this, Vinnie started the band Hellyeah.
How long after that was it?
I'm looking right now.
Okay. I want to say it was a little while.
Not long enough.
Oh man.
2006.
Oh, okay. That's not.
2006.
I was thinking like 09 or something, but okay.
Yeah. And so they this band.
So this was Vinnie and Chad from Mudvayne,
Greg
and
from-
Greg from Mudvayne.
Mhm.
So singer and guitarist
And Tom Maxwell from Nothing Face.
on other guitar,
Yeah.
and then Bob Zilla.
No,
At some point?
he didn't. I don't think
He was later.
Maybe he was. Maybe he did. I don't know. Maybe he did.
Okay.
Oh yeah. He did. Maybe he was there in the beginning.
Okay. He was there at some point. I know. I just don't know what. at what
Yeah, I
point.
think he was there in the beginning.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Gotcha.
No, he wasn't. But he did fill in. Oh no. Okay, he was there from 2007, 2014. So yeah, he was there for much.
Okay. Just not the very, very beginning.
Just not the first record. Yeah,
Gotcha.
yeah. That's
Okay.
why I don't associate it.
The name Bob Zilla sticks out to me. So
How could it not?
Yeah. Yeah.
How could it not? Excuse me. So yeah, I remember when hearing about the band, when hearing this band was gonna happen, I was like, well, how can this not be amazing? Because fuck, man, Mudvayne's one of my favorite bands. But at this time, Mudvayne had kind of like waned for me, you know, because there was LD50 that came out, which we're gonna do a whole episode about that.
Mm-hmm.
And then the next record was like, this is pretty great.
Yeah.
And that third record was like, I like some of these songs, but not the same way that I like the other ones. What are y'all doing?
Yeah. What are you guys doing?
And then it was like, oh, Chad, you know, like the guys from Mudvayne and Vinnie Paul have a band. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
What's it called?
Can you tell me the name?
It's called Hellyeah. And I was like, God damn it. Does Vinnie got a new band called Damn Straight? Oh.
So I mean, I haven't looked into it, but like, did Vinny come up with a name?
I don't know.
Because it seems like something he like. Just call it Hell Yeah, man.
Yeah, Damage Plan. Like, yeah, like when you look at his career, it's
well, so I didn't realize that Damage Plan was initially meant to be called Newfound Power as a band name.
Oh, okay.
And then for some reason they had to not do that anymore. And so that was the album, and they went with Damage Plan.
I see.
So I guess that would have been better, because Damage Plan is just not a great name.
Newfound Power is a way worse name. That's a
Is it?
terrible. That's a terrible band name.
Okay, I guess I don't know which way to go with this. So I don't have any real opinion on it either way, but
I just know that, like, yeah.
listen, I just know that Hell Yeah is not a very good name.
I mean, neither is Pantera.
It's not. The band makes the name.
The band makes the name.
Famously, Korn is like the example, right?
That's the how did you say it? The example. Of
The
that?
example. There you go. Yeah. So yeah, absolutely true.
So
Hell Yeah.
okay, so here's. I'm sorry, Vinny. Sorry. All right, so Hell Yeah. When it's good, but it's rarely that for me. I like the songs that sound like Mudvayne ballads or Mudvayne stomps, but with Vinny on drums. I really, really dig that.
Yeah.
I can't stand the ones that are generic metal songs with screamed country lyrics. I've never been able to stand those. I can't stand them. I can't stomach them now. I put one on that playlist as an example, like the Drink Drunk or whatever, because it's part of what they do. Whatever. It's better than that song Alcohol and Ass. That's haulin', like you're hauling.
Your alcoholing ass.
Yes.
Down the road.
Yeah. But also alcohol and ass. Oh, so clever. So
I did listen to that whole playlist you gave, the five tracks, I think.
Cool. Good.
So yeah, for reference, I had never really cared much for Hell Yeah at all.
Yep.
So I just never listened to much of it.
So and even the songs with the hook, whose hooks I really, really like, do kind of seem to peter out in the middle. I guess they're just trying to really get those serious rotations. They're like Liquid Metal or whatever, whatever the rock and metal radio stations are on Sirius. They wanted plays on there. Now, here's the other thing. When I say Mudvayne ballads, I mean like the song Happy and shit like that, or like,
Okay.
yeah, like the stuff they were making towards the end of their career.
Because there really wasn't anything like that on LD50.
Fucking none.
So
none of that.
So yeah.
And there's this one here because we were because it came up earlier when we were talking about Parks and Rec. Oddly enough.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Let me find it. Where you at, Mudvayne?
Where you at, Mudvayne?
Where you at, Mudvayne? So, but yeah, and so even like the Mudvayne ballads. I think it's this one. No, it's not that one. I'm whatever. There's a like, I think it's this one. Hold on, sorry. I don't. Yep, that's it. Stand in the place where you live.
Oh, is that okay? There we go. I see.
That's what
I got
you
you.
think of. But
Stand in the closet and scream with me.
But yeah, so like this is the thing, okay? Like the Mudvayne ballads that I like them the same way that I like some Five Finger Death Punch songs,
Okay.
which is begrudgingly.
With a heaping spoonful of regret.
Like,
oh no.
like in the sense that like I worry, like I do like this. I am self-aware enough to understand that I like this, but I also maybe wonder what's wrong with me that I like this as much as I do.
Okay, I got you. I understand.
Because it's pop music for angry special boys. Which is a big deal of what my personality is. So, I'm just not angry about the things that the average person in a Five Finger Death Punch audience is angry about anymore. And I hate that band's image, but goddamn, Ivan Moody's a really, really great singer. And I really, really love the band he was in before Five Finger Death Punch called Moto Grader.
Oh, okay.
That album, the first Moto Grader album, is like the gem of the nu metal genre. It is one of the best nu metal albums ever made.
Ooh, okay. I've heard of them, but I don't know that I've heard them for sure.
He's great at what he does, man. He's a great vocalist. Writes great melodies, blah blah blah, all that sort of stuff. So yeah, I have a soft spot for that bullshit. So
Right.
like whenever they do that, like on that playlist, like the song like Human or like Love Falls or whatever, like I'm a sucker for it.
Gotcha.
I dig it. I don't know that it's art, but I really like listening to it.
Okay. Yeah. All right.
I like that song X the same way that I like, like I'm like, oh, those upbeats and like I like Chad Gray's voice. And so it's like, if you have Chad Gray doing Chad Gray shit in like a certain fucking tempo to where I can't tell how lame the lyrics are, I'm going to fucking like it.
Well, see, the problem is when they go and do lyric videos, then you can very clearly tell how lame the lyrics
You're
are.
not supposed to watch them.
Well, so I watched the one for Human, and I was like, they really want to beat you over the head with how clever he's trying to be with these lyrics.
They're not.
Did you watch that? 'Cause, like,
No, I just listened to it.
so the whole thing about that song is that in every line of every verse, they put a word in there and then add it somewhere else. But I can't even think of a good example.
You don't need to.
Do you? No. I'm looking up.
Do I stand in the
fucking
place
looking up
where we
lyrics.
live, in the closet?
In the closet where I scream. Actually, did I leave it on here? I think I might have had it pulled up. No, I had it. I had Hellyeah.
Hell yeah!
So I had Hellyeah. I had those lyrics pulled up because I want to talk about those as well.
Okay.
Or just acknowledge them. But
It's a hook. I heard that song like a few times a few years ago, and I still remembered it.
Okay,
You know what
so
I mean? So I'll
so
give it
lyrics to
that.
human are like I don't want to shit on this. It's whatever.
It is what it is. And I think so.
There you go.
That's the main takeaway from Hellyeah. Like we're shitting on it, we're having a good time or whatever right now. I don't think that band was formed for us.
No, not at all. I
Like
don't think so.
they weren't.
They were for a specific purpose, and they went and did it, and that's
Yeah,
fine.
yeah. And part of it, I really respect that in a sense because it's like
Yeah.
I think more like Vinnie owned restaurants and strip clubs and shit. He didn't fucking
Right.
play drums for money
Right.
anymore. And I think that more than anything that he and these other guys, they wanted to be in a band that fucking worked, that functioned, that didn't have to deal with a bunch of fucking drama. Like a guys that like, yeah, we're committed to like music is our life, and we're committed to go out and playing music on stage in front of people.
Yeah, and all these dudes were like seasoned professionals.
Right, and I respect that.
Totally.
And before we, because I am willing to talk a lot of shit about this band. And
I'm willing and ready and able.
Okay,
so let's
before
go.
we do that,
But I'm acknowledging this because
I did happen to see these guys live on accident once.
they were just like playing at the bodega that you walked into. And they were
So-
just fucking there, just on the corner.
I was in Dallas to see Rammstein.
Okay,
Okay,
that's a good reason to be in Dallas.
and it wasn't listed who was opening or anything like that.
Oh,
I didn't know.
Oh, interesting.
I
Okay.
didn't know. It didn't say it on the ticket. It wasn't anywhere. And I'm like, I don't know who the fuck is gonna fucking I get some other band is playing before. I have no idea who the fuck it is. And then it's very much like the Woodlands Pavilion. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So but then I see like a guy in a bandana
Oh, with like a
on the
handlebar
side
mustache.
stage. And I'm like in the seats, but like kind of towards the back, not like up front, but like kind of, you know what I mean? And dude, like my physiology changed, like my body.
You're like spider senses started to tingle.
I was like, oh, that's Vinnie. Like, so as much like the man was so important to me that just like seeing him and being in like the same like 100-yard proximity of him like fucked with my body. Okay, I was like, oh,
oh god.
and then they came, and then they, I was like, oh my god, it's Vinnie! Oh my god, I'm gonna see Vinnie play. I'm gonna see fucking Vinnie play. And they were amazing live.
Cool.
And Chad Gray sounded fucking amazing, and he came out, and I had a lot more respect for Chad, for like their image towards the end, because Chad Gray's like, here's my red dyed hair, and here's my this and blah blah blah, and my nail polish and shit, and I'm like, good, because that's who you really are, Chad.
Yeah.
Take off that fucking cowboy hat before I take it off for you. God damn it, I know you're from Peoria.
They ain't have cowboys in Illinois.
And so and he was amazing, and he was an amazing frontman, and he said amazing things that you wouldn't normally hear. And I've seen Mudvayne play a lot. I was able to see them play it live several times, and that was a pretty consistent thing about him, is that he would like slow the show down to like say shit you never heard other people say, that was really gracious and felt really important, about like taking the time to I don't know, like just appreciate things, or taking the time to thank the road crew and all the people behind the scenes that make this shit happen. Just
Cool.
Just stuff you just wouldn't normally, that like a dude that's fucking jumping off of a drum riser with a fucking red mohawk and shit, is, you don't imagine him like stopping the show to say that shit. So
Yeah.
lots of respect for that dude. And so yeah, they were amazing. They were amazing live.
Cool.
All right, let's talk some shit.
Like Vinny's playing on all this stuff sounded fucking incredible.
The drums sound so good.
Like,
the drums sound huge
At every turn.
and
Like,
incredible.
huge, yes.
and all that.
Huge and Vinny like
Yeah.
fucking A.
And again, a testament to that's what Vinny wanted to be doing.
Yeah.
You know? I don't know, man. Maybe he's like, I don't want to do all the double bass shit anymore. It's just hard. It doesn't matter.
They didn't come across in these songs then, because there's a lot of fucking double bass in some of these songs.
Fair enough.
Fucking killing it. So, anyway, shitting on the lyrics to Human, back to this. Anyway, what they do in this song is they take a word, so like, I defy your defiance. It's all lies in alliance.
Okay, yeah,
It's that it's the whole way down. It's turtles all the way down.
It does do that.
With that.
Yeah.
You drove the stake in my worst mistake. Now I'm the one left alone. Right? So it's a very visual. So when you watch the lyric video, they
really
highlight these words at every
no.
turn. And I was like, look, they really just wanted to get this across.
That's funny. Because like,
I just found that hilarious.
I like the song, like unironically, and I'm like, like I got it. It's like, but I never put that together.
I never would have if it had not been for that video.
For the lyric,
and it's not like it's bad. It's just kind of nonsensical at times at worst. Really.
It seems like an odd coat hanger for a song, like an odd idea.
Yeah.
An odd lyrical idea of like, yeah, I'm gonna build a whole song around this little nested thing.
Because they are saying things from time to time in this song, but it seems like he said, I'm gonna write lyrics that do this visually.
Right. It's interesting to like.
It's weird
to like take it to that degree, right?
You
know what I mean? Because everyone does the kind of thing of like I and I for I or whatever and shit, like whatever.
Yeah.
You know, or like the last word of a phrase becomes the first word of the next phrase, and
there's all kinds of cool shit you can do.
Right. But like no. The last word of every phrase will be the first word of every next phrase.
We will have this word in there twice, but in different contexts.
Yeah, like if it was just I defy your defiance, that would have been that cool. Like that would have been
cool.
fine.
You did one.
You know.
All right.
Because I remember hearing that lyric and I'm like, I dig it. I'm fine. I'm good with that. But I couldn't that's Chad Grace Saving Grace is like his voice sounds amazing. It's not the most articulate fellow though. So you can't like pick out a lot of the nuance.
Yeah.
Of that sort of shit. So,
right.
Yeah.
But I mean, listen, if you don't give a shit, you get your hell yeah. That's all I'm gonna say. Throwing fist in the pit, you get your hell yeah. Think you're fucking with this? Well, hell no. Balls, volume, strength. Get you, come on.
I'm so torn.
Drinking beer, smoking weed, you get your hell yeah. Got a bruised attitude, you get your hell yeah. Think you're fucking with this? Well, hell no. Balls, volume, strength, get you, come on. Get you, come on. Questionable on that one.
Is it like, get you, come on?
I don't know. That's what I'm questioning. Because otherwise... Anyway.
Yeah, I feel like...
It's just a fucking silly chorus is all.
Yeah, I mean, rhythmically, it's a hook.
Totally, yeah.
You know, and so... I'm gonna look up the drunk lyrics, because I remember just like listening to those. That was hard for me.
I appreciate that they busted out a Dr. Seuss-ism for that though.
Did they really?
Yeah, the Grinch, stink, stank, stunk.
you can get fucked.
Fuck, fake. And
yeah,
fuck. Drunk.
Yeah, like the thing is that if this was, let's get fucked up till we fall down. So everybody get drink drunk right now. Let's get tore up. Yeah, it's so hard to even read these. Oh, this is it. This is the one. Oh God. Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
Do it.
There's 2 reasons that we showed up here to party and kick some ass, and we're almost out of beer. This is the thing. If you had that lyric delivered like with a dude like singing over some acoustic country ass guitar with like some just full drums and shit like that, a breakdown of the song, it would be killer and awesome and a hell of a time to see live.
It would
You
kind of
know.
make sense. It would be like,
You know,
okay, this.
there's two reasons we showed up here. You know, like that kind of fucking to party and kick some ass, and we're almost out of beer. Like that, you know, if you had like that kind of thing to it, man, it would. Well, it's like when you're like going like full vein on it.
Apostrophe vein.
You know, I need to get the cadence in my head because I don't remember it. Because, God damn it. Yeah.
There you go.
We're almost out of beer. Like that's.
Yeah.
Is that how you? Is that? That's not how those lyrics, like the emotion of those lyrics. Like how do you? And I think like that's a big problem I have with a lot of the lyrical content of the band.
Yeah.
You know? Like
some like just in general, there are a few things that turn me off quicker than lyrics that are saying how badass you are, or how much your ass you're gonna kick, or how much better you are than somebody else.
yeah, sure.
I just don't ever want to hear it.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
It can be done in a way that's like funny or knowing or like wink wink or whatever.
Right.
But like you're saying here, if it's just like I'm screaming it at you, so clearly I mean it.
Yeah.
It just doesn't work.
And
for
me. I have a disconnect too with it, especially because it's Chad Gray and he made LD50. And so there's kind of a big disconnect for me because that record is a very an extremely intellectual, psychedelic, philosophical, existential crisis.
Sure.
Aggressive, cosmic void, hopeless, intense record.
Mm-hmm. And you know what? He's a bad motherfucker for having made part of it.
And that's all
But
he
you know
ever
what?
did.
I don't want to hear him scream that at me. I don't want him to tell me how badass of a motherfucker he is. Because then I don't care anymore.
And so it's like I just have a hard time like believing that the guy that's like, I am everything, I am nothing, is also like, drink, drunk. That
Sure, yeah,
like
yeah.
it's like, dude, you wrote a whole song about like listing off like different medications. You know what I mean? Like pharmacopoeia or whatever. And it's like and so that is a big problem with me for me because it's like, okay, I have your first few records, Chad and Greg. I know that y'all like dressing up. Are you dressing up as Texans right now? Is that what you're doing?
Well, I mean, yes.
Because I ran into Greg at a show once. And like I've said, like LD50 is one of like the most is an incredible important record for me. But when I saw this dude and he's all decked out in denim in my fucking state, my fucking city.
Ain't gonna fly here, Bubba.
I was like, I have nothing for you, Greg. I have nothing fucking for you. If you just would have looked fucking normal, then I would tell you how much you influenced me and how important you are to my fucking life. Since you're wearing all this stuff, since you're dressed like my fucking dad. I don't. I'm later, dude. And it rubbed me the wrong fucking way to see Chad and Greg in cowboy hats and fucking denim and like, and it's like, all right, dude, I mean, okay, well, Vinnie gives you the okay, so I guess it's okay, but because if anyone could christen somebody as an honorary Texan, it's Vinnie fucking Paul, but Jesus Christ, guys. So it doesn't, that's that thing. It doesn't, a lot of it doesn't feel genuine to me.
Yeah. And maybe they don't fucking care if it does or not. Maybe it's just like, we're going to make a party band. But in that case,
Yeah.
I don't care.
Right, yeah. It
I
goes back
guess-
to the other thing. It's not for us.
Yeah, exactly, and that's
No,
fine.
it's not for
That's
us.
fine.
It's not for us.
I'm not saying it's bad. I just don't care.
It's not for us.
Since we're gonna talk about just real quick, if we're talking about the guys from Mudvayne's look, this fucking picture on Tidal is hilarious to me because it's like the most like sneering new metal dudes you could possibly
Oh,
imagine.
yeah,
It's so
for sure.
hilariously goofy. Like,
For sure.
I was fucking cackling at this the other day.
Yeah. I think that's from their third
It seems
third
like it's a
album,
later on
the
thing.
third album era.
Yeah, obviously no face paint and shit, but
Yeah.
it's just like them going.
Yeah.
Something,
But they
something
like
smells
weren't
bad in here.
right. They weren't like. I remember when I saw them when they were touring for their second record, and Ryan, like they were already sort of like they weren't married to that idea the way that like Slipknot was.
Right.
For instance, like fucking Ryan came out with a goddamn paper bag on his head.
Right. I remember that.
You know what I mean? Like it wasn't, it wasn't the thing,
Yeah.
like for them. So yeah. Yeah, so anyway. And this is the other thing too. The Nothing Face record, Skeletons, is also one of my favorite records also.
Oh yeah.
So it's just so odd that I mean, what a great juxtaposition between Hellyeah and Down.
Yeah.
Like a super group that is very super group that is very meh.
Well, it's like,
For us, at least.
yeah, for sure. I mean, it's almost like, I guess that's what really does it for me is like, Hellyeah just makes it seem like a caricature,
It does.
really. Whereas, not so directly the same things that they're going for, but Down just seems like such a genuine thing.
Yeah.
Like that's just what they are. This
You
is what
couldn't
they're
fake
doing.
that. You couldn't fake. That's the thing. It feels like anyone. It feels like anyone could have written Hellyeah songs, could have written Hellyeah lyrics, and
Right.
then you just have Vinnie play drums and Chad sing.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. It's just not very interesting. That's all.
Yeah. So, but they were killer live.
Cool.
I had a great every fucking second that they were playing.
I wouldn't mind seeing them play a live show.
Yeah.
Seeing those dudes play some music
Exactly,
live.
because Vinnie and Chad are fucking legends, and seeing them do anything on stage is gonna be good.
Sure.
So
And those drums sounded fucking great
They
on
sound
everything
great.
that I heard.
they sound great.
So,
Yeah. Yeah, and then Vinnie also died, which sucked. Not as tragic, but still sudden.
it wasn't a dramatic fashion.
It wasn't an execution.
It wasn't an
So,
execution.
wah!
It wasn't murder. Yeah.
But which
What year was that?
wasn't that long. I guess
wasn't that-
4 years ago,
Yeah.
something like that.
I was gonna say like 17, but maybe that's too far.
My sense of time is fucked these
Yeah,
days.
same.
2018, yeah, 4 years
Okay.
ago.
Okay, right around there.
Oh wow. Oh, that's why it didn't hit me very hard at the time, is because Max was a few months old, so I
Sure.
was wrapped up in
You
that lack of sleep.
had things going on.
So, but I there was another episode when we talked about Norm Macdonald dying,
Mhm.
and I talked about how Neil Peart's death hit me harder than Vinnie's, even though Vinnie was a much bigger influence, because like the image that Vinnie put forth was that he was a real party hard kind of guy, and so if you hear about a real party hard kind of guy like having some heart shit happen, you're like, well,
It's kind of probably
You
only a matter of
did.
time.
And the thing is, like, we don't really know how hard he partied. That's just the image that was put forth or
Right.
whatever,
Yeah, exactly. That's just what you think when you hear that.
Right.
Yeah.
And whereas like Neil, you knew that Neil was took very good care of himself, was not a man of excess and all that sort of shit like that. And so you always thought that Neil was just going to always okay, cool, Rush isn't touring anymore, but Neil's gonna like keep writing articles about like the history of drumming and shit like that. You know what I mean? And Buddy Rich tributes and this and that. Like Neil's gonna always have something insightful and valuable to say because he is a scholar and a statesman and a diplomat and an aficionado of the written word. And there's gonna always be great articles that Neil's gonna write for drum magazines and shit like that. And it just always felt like Neil was gonna always be around. So his passing was really shocking for me.
Yeah.
So, and I don't know, I feel almost guilty that I wasn't like crushed by Vinnie's death since he's such a huge influence on me. But
I mean, that shit just hits different at different times, right? Like I don't think I was nearly as affected by Dime even passing as you were, which I find very interesting. Because like he influenced me hugely,
right?
Like he was probably the primary reason I picked up a guitar at all. But like when we were talking about fucking Norm Macdonald, like that hit me hard,
right?
So it's I don't know how to quantify that stuff.
Yeah, that is interesting. That is there. Yeah.
There have been other times like you're saying about Vinnie, like throughout the years where I'm like, this person was objectively a huge influence on me in some way or another. But it's just, for some reason it just didn't hit me as hard,
right,
as I would expect it to have. So
I think part of it has to have with, unfortunately, how relevant that person's art is to you at the time of their passing. And Dime's art was extremely relevant to me at the time of his passing. And Vinnie, not as much. Like Vinnie had already done all the influencing on me that he was going to do, so to speak. And so maybe that's like the kind of dirty aspect about it. You know what I mean? Whereas like you were actively enjoying Norm's comedy and what Norm was putting out. You know what I mean? So like this is going to sound fucked up. I'm not sad about not hearing the next Vinnie record because I already don't listen to Hellyeah because I don't like them.
yeah.
But there's a loss for like if there's like a comedian you're really into, you're like, I don't get that anymore.
Yeah, maybe that's part of it. Like, I mean, for my part, like I didn't really like the Damage Plan album at the time even, and I didn't really like Reinventing the Steel very much.
You're like, fuck it, Dom, you're dead to me.
So like even if I had said that, which I didn't, but even if I had, there's still a decade's worth of the most influential music from that man,
right,
for me.
He defined fucking like the next 2 decades of guitar.
Yeah, like on some level, like what the fuck more could I have asked from him? But like I don't know.
I think we're being extremely transparent about these things, and that people are never transparent about. Since we're talking about death, so there was another band I was in called Trepanation.
Yeah,
parallel with and the singer Jeff Stockstill, affectionately known as Jeff Death. He passed away last year.
Right.
And one of the things that would happen all the time, because we were playing live a lot, like in like 2005, 2006, 2007, a little bit. I think we broke up in 2007. But because in his like death metal voice, because he would only like address the crowd in like death metal voice, right?
We are Trepanation from Dayton, Texas. This next song is Hostile Pentecostal.
Yeah. Oh man, I miss that guy so much. But there's another song we had where he'd be like,
this next song is a tribute.
And every time people would be like, Dime, get your pull, Dimebag. So this is how it would go. This is how it would go every fucking time.
This next song is a tribute
Dime, get your pool, dime bag, woo.
To John Ritter, it is entitled Two's Company.
Oh, well, yes.
I miss you, Jeff. I miss you so fucking much, man.
Oh, God, brilliant.
So good.
Didn't he also do the fucking spider thing with you?
That was Brandon.
That was Brandon? Okay.
About like Cradle of Filth.
Yeah.
Is that what you're talking about?
Okay, I always conflate that.
A spider.
Yeah, I always think about that.
Yeah, man.
Oh,
Yeah, like
shit.
I had tickets to go see Meshuggah in fucking Fort Worth in 2005, and no one could go, so I like called Brandon.
Right.
It was like right after the fucking hurricane, and shit was a mess.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, man, he and I just we drove up to Fort Worth and just made all these like crazy jokes about like Cradle of Filth and like we had like we came with a whole bit about like Danny Filth going into Bath and Body Works or something, a botanical scrub or some shit. I don't know. I don't remember. It was a good fucking time. Yeah. So I think that wraps up our.
Yeah, that's the bulk of the side projects there.
So in regards to like Pantera in general, when I was thinking about it, here's like a fun thing to do. So something I think is interesting is that like Cowboys from Hell, like the first 3 Pantera records are extremely interesting for the records that they are and when they came out. Because Cowboys from Hell, like, is it the first 90s metal record or is it the last 80s metal record?
It totally straddles that line.
You know?
Yeah.
Because in a sense, it shuts the lock on 80s heavy metal, and it's like, well, if you listen to this, you kind of don't need the rest of it.
It kind of takes everything that was good about 80s metal,
Right.
but does it this way instead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. And then in a sense, Vulgar defined the sound of 90s metal.
Mm-hmm.
Like the gold production standard.
Yeah.
Like Vulgar defined that.
For sure.
The other album that people talk about is Burn My Eyes doing that as well, but that was 2 years afterwards. And then I would argue that Far Beyond Driven defines like the boundaries of like vibe and content and subject matter and whatnot. Like how far are we willing to go? How far can you go and still be metal or whatever? And I think there's an argument to say that Far Beyond Driven draws those lines, because when you think about it, you know, that album came out in early 1994, and Phil's singing a song about like fucking, you know, like being abused, you know.
Yeah.
Korn's first album didn't come out until fall of 94.
Yeah.
You know? So when you think like so much of like what's the lyrical content of nu metal and what is that? You know, like that, you know, or Slipknot and like dark and grimy and shit. Like, you know, you think about like songs like Virus of Life or Scissors or what. Okay, you're talking about cutting people up or whatever, blah, 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 blah. Like Phil's kind of already been there and done that, you know? And so I think that, so yeah, I don't know. That's kind of like, that's my thesis, you know? I don't think, as much as I love Trendkill, I don't think it had the influence that the first 3 did, you know, or I don't even know that Cowboys from Hell had a huge influence, but I think Vulgar and Far Beyond definitely did.
Yeah, I would wonder about Cowboys' influence.
How do you sound like that? You know,
I think it was much more just like a statement for Pantera themselves.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, here's what we're gonna do,
right?
and it was so incredibly fucking strong.
Yeah.
Because how do you try to sound like that?
Right.
That's the thing. Like everyone was done sounding like that. They just said, here's what we're gonna perfect, and now we're gonna go forward.
Here's the version of that. Well, and that's the thing too, is like that album is so much about like the chemistry and the performances and everything. Like no one can make that album except for Dime, Vinnie, Phil, and Rex. You know.
Yeah.
But maybe you can try to get that guitar tone that they got on Vulgar, and maybe you can try to get those drum tones, and you know, you can't get that. You know what I mean? You're fine, get what they had on Cowboy Spell. It ain't gonna matter because you're not gonna play like those dudes.
Totally. Yeah. You're not gonna write the weird songs they wrote there.
Yeah, for fucking real. Yeah. Oh, okay. So here's like a funny thing. So if we had to like rank albums,
Okay.
we're here at the end.
All right. The end of this journey.
Mr. Frodo, here at the end of all things.
Yeah. So okay, we're talking Pantera and side projects. What are we doing here?
Yeah. Now I think there's a clear for us. I think there's a clear like tier 1 records, and then there's like tier 2 records. Okay, and I think we know where what falls.
It's really like tier 1 and then tier 2 ... in.
Sure.
but yes.
So of the tier 1 records, like how do you think you would rank them?
Of the tier, or like what would I put in the top tier?
No, we know what's in the tier 1. What of the tier 1?
The first 4 Pantera albums and down.
Exactly.
Is what we're talking about here.
Exactly.
Okay, good.
We don't even need. We're gonna exclude 101 Proof from this.
Yeah, for as much as I love it and could almost consider it to be like the definitive Pantera thing,
exactly.
I'll
Right. Yeah. It's
its own thing.
Yeah. Exactly.
I'm gonna say
exactly. It's probably my favorite. And we've talked about
I think it's my favorite Pantera thing overall.
to listen to, right?
Yeah,
like, you know.
Those last 2 songs are so fucking good.
You're so right. and then part of me is like, God damn it, why'd you have to be making all this stupid black metal and fucking grindcore, Phil? Could you just go fucking hang out in Dallas and make a whole album of that shit? God damn it.
That's all right. We got that though. Okay, so of the first 4 Pantera albums and NOLA.
Down, right? Because so the real interesting thing is like, where do you place Down, right? Yeah, you know.
God, to compare them to those Pantera albums, that's really the thing there, right?
Right. And so like, just what's your favorite? What do you enjoy listening to the most?
Yeah, to roll all that in, like, what do I like? Not that it's the best, but like my favorite.
Yeah.
What do I want to go back to?
Right. If you want, you can start at the bottom.
Man.
I'll tell you what my bottom one is.
Okay.
It's Vulgar.
Okay. I think I'm right there with you for that one. I think I'm right there. I think Vulgar, and then I think... Oh, it's really hard, but I'm going to say Far Beyond Driven is next.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm going to say Trendkill.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm going to say NOLA. And then I'm going to say Cowboys from Hell.
So for you, it's Cowboys from Hell, NOLA,
Yeah.
Trendkill.
Yeah. Trendkill and Far Beyond are interchangeable right there.
I see. Far Beyond and Vulgar.
Yeah. And Vulgar at the bottom. Yep. That's going to be it for off the cuff.
Gotcha. I think for me, especially this time around, okay, we're going back this time around, the one that I enjoyed listening to the most was Far Beyond Driven. I think Far Beyond Driven is objectively their best record. Or Cowboys from Hell. I think those two are.
Those are fighting for the top spot.
That's hard. I think that.
I mean, yeah.
so there's a cluster right there, you know. But I think Far Beyond Driven and Cowboys from Hell are objectively their best records. I'm gonna always put Trendkill of Towards the Top because it's not their best record, but it was a statement, and it's always going to be one of my personal favorites. But I think for me, it's probably right now. It hurts me to even say like Trendkill isn't the first one, just because that's what I would have said my entire life.
But now,
yeah,
the way things are now.
Like going back, what did I enjoy listening to the most? I think it's Far Beyond Driven. Fuck it. I'm gonna say Far Beyond Driven, NOLA,
Okay.
Cowboys from Hell,
Okay.
Trendkill, and that's all real close.
Sure.
Like-
These 5 albums are the like
Yeah,
you can't fuck with any of this.
yeah. Like we're talking like 100, or we're talking like 99, 98.9, 98.7,
Yeah, exactly.
all the radio stations right there, and
the whole FM frequency, really.
right, and then so all of those albums are just like A+++ to me, and then Vulgar is like maybe an A- or a B+. It's the only one that's like separated from the pack for me.
Yeah.
Even though, like we've talked about, it has like some of Pantera's best songs on it,
Right.
or whatever. Just the album as a whole, I didn't enjoy listening to it.
It's just the one to me where I can point it. I can just very clearly point at things and go, I'm not really digging this. Yeah.
Skip that. You know what I mean? Whereas I didn't feel I ain't skipping fucking anything on those other 4. It hurt me to pick one to throw away on Far Beyond Driven, and something because our whole like essential tracks, trash tracks bit that we did on Far Beyond Driven, and I realized something. I don't think I articulated it super well at the time. The reason I included Good Friends in there, because if I like a whole album, I don't want to take away a track. Like if each song is sort of a data point, and I like the whole album, I don't want to take away a track that I feel like was going to skew the average. You know what I mean? And Good Friends and a Bottle of Pills is an extreme track on that album. And it's fucking weird and nuts.
Uh-huh.
And if you take that away, it changes what the median song on the album is.
Like it weighs heavily on that average for that album. Yeah.
Yes. Because it's so it's like, you can't take that one away. You have to take away one of these that's already near the middle.
Right.
And
Gotcha.
so that's how I feel on albums that I love already as a whole. On like a Damageplan album, I'm like, well, these are the 5 songs I like.
Sure.
So
Sure.
okay, so that's tier 1.
Like special mention to 101 Proof. Let's just say that
Special
in there.
mention to 101 Proof. Yeah. And then so I guess like when I'm talking about like the rest, this is where this is like really interesting. So what would you rather listen to? Reinventing the Steel, Down to, or Damageplan?
Down to.
I agree. Same.
It's the most interesting thing in there.
Same.
I'm gonna say.
Next.
Okay.
So we have Damageplan and
Oh
Reinventing the Steel.
no! No, how do I have to do this? I hate this.
So you gotta.
Oh boy. Reinventing the Steel.
Yeah.
Maybe if I sat and listened to this album a few more times, I would have more interesting takeaways from it. But as it stands, I think there's probably more interesting stuff going on Reinventing.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's kind of where I see that.
The only reason, like it's so funny because it's like, which of these am I gonna enjoy? That's funny because the songs that I love on this, I love way more than the songs that I
Anything on
love
Reinventing?
on Reinventing. But if it was like, all right, you can, one of these you can, if you frame the question in a certain way, one of these you can never listen to again. I'd be like,
Okay, that's a different question. Yeah.
right. It'd be
sure.
like, okay, I need to hold on to reinventing just for maybe I'll get it one day.
Okay, so I'm the opposite then, because I'm like, I have heard reinventing. I know what there is there. There's nothing there for me anymore.
There's nothing but
There could be. This is at least possibility.
Oh, that's funny.
Whereas reinventing, I've squeezed all of the couple drops of whiskey and blood out of that stone.
Right. But it's interesting that they're
They're kind of right there. Yeah.
Right? That's yeah. I can't really comment on the rest of Down stuff because I just haven't spent enough time with it, like Down 3 or the EPs they've done. So
Right.
asterisks on those. The only Hellyeah record that I completely listened to was the Undeniable one. That's the only one I bought.
Do you know if that was like their second or third?
No, it was like their fourth or some
Okay.
shit. It was deep into. It's 3 of the songs that I put on that playlist are from that one.
Okay. Yeah, I saw the album was like the background for one of the videos. So.
Yeah.
X. Yeah.
So, and then I think you got like Phil's projects, and then you got Hellyeah, sort of. Again, like if I could just take those Mudvayne ballads with Vinnie on drums, just give me all those, make a whole album of those. I'd probably put that. I'd rather listen to that than Reinventing the Steel, probably. But if I gotta wait through this drink drunk shit, you know, man, you can keep it.
Yeah, maybe just call it something else. I don't know.
So,
like the album and the band and the song all being named Hellyeah. It's just like when you hear a word too many times and it kind of just loses meaning.
It's already a dumb word.
It's already not a word. It's 2 words.
Yeah.
Trying to type these notes into my phone and having it autocorrect back to 2 words every time. I'm like, God damn it, you don't understand. I just had to copy and paste it after a while.
Yeah, man.
But
fucking. This is. All right, new song. New song by the band Hellyeah off of their upcoming album Damn Straight. This song's called Fucking A.
Exactly.
So.
Oh, yep.
All right, I think that's it.
I think that's probably going to do it.
All right, man. That's the last of our 17-part series on Pantera. Part 18 coming at you next week.
Coming at you? Coming at you. There
Coming
you go.
at you.
That's what it was.
I'll get you Hellyeah.
So, okay, we'll talk about that next time. Yeah. All right.
Okay.
Good to go.
Okay, are you sure? Are you sure we're good to go?
Hell yeah.
Cue the music.